Live? Hello? We're live. Very cool. I think. Alright, let me pull everything up real quick. Let me pop out the chat so I can actually see what's happening. Ooh, that's not right. Go back to full screen. There we go. Let me get Twitch chat up. Probably should edit this out of the VOD, huh? Whatever. Then let's go and let's go tweet about it. I guess we can start playing it. So, welcome back, everyone. We are live. We are going to be analyzing day 2 because I slept through the entire thing. Obviously, I do know a little bit about what happens, but it should be. I do want to watch the matches, learn about the teams, and do everything I can to be prepared for the regionals in North America coming in May. So I do want, and also steal some teams because I need a team to use. But yeah, it should be a good time. Just like last time, hopefully some people will join me. Right now, I'm the only person in the call, but I'm excited. Let me tweet it out real quick. Day 2 EUIC Rewatch. All right. So to recap, what happened day 1? Day 1 was we saw some cool teams. We saw a very cool Lunala Urshifu team that did make day 2. I didn't realize that. They went 6-3 and bubbled into day 2. We saw the team that Pado and Yuri both used to make day 2, which was Solgaleo Groudon. That looked really competent. We saw Javier Valdez go undefeated in day 1 Swiss with a Dialga-zation team with Weezing and Blastoise. And there's one other cool team, I think. Chef's team. Chef's team was really cool. It was like Barraskewda, Weezing, Ogre stuff. You can't donate bits because I'm not a Twitch affiliate. I think the best way to support the channel is on YouTube. You can become a channel member, or I think also you can super chat on YouTube as well. I don't have any of the Twitch like monetary stuff set up because 1, I just don't stream on Twitch very often, and 2, it means that I can't stream on YouTube, which is where most of my audience still is. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to day 2. I think all those players made day 2. I know there were some other really cool teams that made day 2. I'm looking at like Torby's dual weather team that I know did very well. Obviously, Eric Rios did very well with Rinya Sun again, so I'm interested to see how these other top teams match up against what everyone understands is the best meta threat. And also really like Joe's team. I thought that his Evil Dawn team was really cool, and so I'm really excited to see how he does as well, and how he matches up with some players. And then also, I think there's a bunch of different Calric Shadow teams that have been popping up here and there, and a bunch of different types of Zacian Ogre teams that have been popping up here and there. And so I want to try to distinguish between they're all good. They all made day 2, right? But I want to try to understand the teams a little better because those are teams that are not fleshed out in the same way that Rinya Sun is. And so they have more developments. They have like a little more space to adapt. And I want to try to understand how they can adapt moving forward into a metagame post EUIC. Although it sure seems like the metagame is going to look pretty stagnant. Having some idea of what the results are going to look like in a few days, or rather not in a few days. Like they've already happened, But I don't know. I don't know what happens in each of the results. I just know who made top cut. is basically where I'm at. I checked Twitter today morning is basically what happened. So I remember I was awake for when when the first round started and when they released pairings, and I was surprised that they picked. I think they picked Eric Rios' match for day one, even though he was X1 and had already been on stream. There were a couple players who hadn't been on stream going into day two, but I guess over time either they will fall off or we will see them anyways. So it's not a huge deal. I believe they streamed all of top 8 and top 4. Might be wrong about that, but there's only 5 rounds of Swiss, so it shouldn't be too long. And then top 8 cut, which I believe means like one X4 is going to make it, and then everyone else you have to go X3. All right, come on. This is Casti? No, this is that's Javier, right? Yeah, and Eric Rios. Okay, there we go. So this is the team that that Rajan was really excited about yesterday, which was the Blastoise Weezing Dialga team. And basically, the idea behind that team was that Blastoise Weezing is supposed to be really good into Rinja Sun. So we are going to find out if that is actually the case, because Eric Rios is probably the best user of Rinja Sun in the world right now, other than maybe Rinja themselves. So that might be better. Eric Rios is just phenomenal, one of the best players in the world. So should be a good time. Let's see if... Yeah, let's see what we can do. We were interested in this team, so we went and tested it out a little bit last night. And I was not as impressed. It felt like it did not do nearly enough. Like at the end of the day, if you are using Zacian Dialga, you are using 2 restricteds that are weak to ground, and Rinja Sun has 2 ground types. And so, I mean, they don't actually bring Gastrodon into the matchup, but it's so hard to endgame against the Zacian and the Groudon. And the Blastoise just does barely enough and doesn't even stop Wildfire from going up, which is really like... Although you get your own residual off, you don't actually stop Wildfire. They do way too much to Weezing, and Weezing isn't really a Pokemon. It just kind of sits there. So it's a really awkward matchup from the 3 or 4 test games that I played in the matchup, just to see if this concept really worked, because that is something that if you can tech 2 Pokemon on to 70-30 the Rinja Sun matchup, you should do it at this point in the metagame. So I would not go into indie regionals or any of the other regionals in May without a really solid idea. And if I can win that matchup, if I can win that matchup with 2 Pokemon, and one of those Pokemon is a Blastoise, which is a real Pokemon that I can bring to other matchups, that's something that I would build a team around, which is what Javier did. But we'll see if it can. We can see if it can take on against Eric Rios, who is the other thing to note is not every Rinja Sun player is going to be as good as Eric Rios, right? You can't 100-0 a player that is... He got top 8 at the last World Championships and just won a regional, right? So you can't 100-0 this matchup, but you can 60-40 it, and that's probably good enough. That gives you an advantage and room to outplay players who are of the same caliber or worth than you, which is all I can really ask for. But this is not as high quality as I want it to be. I don't know what quality I'm streaming at. I think it's only 720. This monitor only plays at 720, so there's no reason for me to stream at a higher quality, I don't think. But yeah, let's jump into the game. This one I do actually want to dive into the lines a little more, because we were kind of just chatting last time and not really talking about the specific board states. But this game I do want to look at the specific board states because I'm very intrigued by Javier's team. Is Palkia Cali Ice dead? I think it is not. There was a 1 in top 16 and 1 in top 32 at the very least. I don't know if all top 32 teams have been published yet by Victory Road or one of the other sites that would do that. But I know Sella got top 16 and Yuya got top 32 with Cali Ice Palkia. So it's definitely still around. Was not on stream. It's good, Giso. But we should... I don't know. I don't know if we'll see it today, because those players did not end up doing that well. But the way that Palkia Cali Ice has been described to me is that you have a playable matchup into everything, but you're playing a 40-60 matchup into everything. And that's not... And then just have to outplay your opponents. And the players who did well with it are very, very good and very well-versed with the team. But it's not my favorite team to use by any means. Alright, so we do see the lead. So okay, so actually this is interesting. So when we were testing it, the Rinja Sun player was leading Charizard a lot because you just get to power through the Weezing and set up your Wildfire. Now that's not necessarily what Eric has done. He said I'm going to go Groudon Zacian, which I don't like as much because the Gmax Cannonade, I don't know Eric's set, but against the original Rinja Paste, Gmax Cannonade puts Groudon in Cannonade chip range, even though it's AV. So unless you're maxing the Groudon, which you are in an awkward spot. I don't know Eric's item on Weezing. It could be Sash, it could be Shucka. He doesn't have an obvious place to put his Focus Sash right now. And so if it's Shucka, then it should live with a double up and just get a Wisp off, which would be really bad. I don't know. Also, you might just be losing your Zacian to a Cannonade. But yeah, so we do see the Dynamax. I don't think you lead Groudon without Dynamaxing it, and I hope that Javier realizes that if the Groudon is being led, it has to max basically in this situation. Protect, okay, very safe. But like again, risking your okay. So we do see Shaka. That's not surprising. That is probably the most common item, but that did a lot. Actually, if he went for the double up, he was just taking that KO. And we do see this Spadef boost, which is so the Spadef boost is also interesting because it means the Blastoise is not very fast. And we figured, or Eric's Groudon is faster than we expected. I don't know if he posted his paste from EUIC or from Liverpool, but the Blastoise is like 84 HP stat, and so I thought it was just gonna be not max speed, but almost max special attack modest. It is life form, and close to max speed, but not as speeding Groudon here does mean you're doing 50% less damage, which isn't great. Do you see the Wisp into the Zacian, which I think maybe is a little questionable. I think you're supposed to get to Groudon, but I guess he thought he was taking the KO as Groudon. Maybe Eric's. So if Javier has been assuming his Groudon, his Blastoise outspeeds Groudon's, and he didn't, that might also be like why he went for this play. It might just be that Eric's Groudon is especially fast. But here, I think it might live Max Quake through Protect. You might also just get doubled up onto Blastoise and take a ton of damage, but that's not very profitable for Eric. I think you want to hit through Protect. Yeah, 1 HP. That's hype. That's yeah, you needed that because now you just need this Cannonade damage. In Sun, it was just doing nothing. I mean, honestly, even then, like it wasn't doing very much, but that's good chip, So now Eric could theoretically rockfall the Blastoise and say that Weezing is dying to chip, but I don't think you do that because you don't want to get burned. You probably still have to just attack, which doesn't feel great into a 1 HP Pokemon, but And then the Beyblade goes into Blastoise, I assume. Nope, it goes into Weezing. That's fair, yeah, no, you set Sun up. No, Sun doesn't do anything for you. I mean, Sun goes up eventually anyways. Let's see. Quake, yep, just get the 3 Spadef boosts. This is what I'm saying. You didn't even, was Blastoise Weezing that good a lead? It wasn't a bad lead, but it didn't do that much. I guess Eric probably, game planned for this team last night is also probably what happened, because he saw that this team was, the counter team, and then said, what am I supposed to do against it? And this looked very competent. Although, I do think that Javier could have, well, I don't know, the turn one was really awkward, because if Eric just doubled up on the Weezing, he took the KO. But if he doubled up on the Weezing and the Weezing protects, then I think he just loses his Zacian, which is also really bad. Or his Zacian takes a lot of damage. No, it doesn't even take that much damage. He gets the Max Quake off. So, I don't know. I don't know if I like the Protect play. He might also not have known which one was faster out of Groudon and Stoise. And now he does, and he can make safer plays next game. But despite that lead being very promising for Javier, Eric is still in a pretty commanding position here. Although both his Pokemon are pretty low. And if he doesn't have something in back to deal with Dialga, that might be a problem. Actually, you don't even bring Dialga here. You don't get to bring Dialga to this matchup. I think you have to have a Rillaboom in back just to deal with the Gastro. Although if you're saying they don't... Yeah, there it is. You are allowed to say they're not bringing Gastrodon. And one of the funny lines that I had when we were testing this matchup was you don't bring any restricteds, and you just say that Blastoise Weezing Rillaboom P2 gets there, and that actually won one of the practice games. But also notable is that the Zacian, that Javier Zacian was faster than Eric Zacian, because Eric I think was 200 speed. Actually, I don't know what Eric's was. Rinho was I think 200 speed, and Javier has some bulk invested based on the HP stat, but I guess he just went potentially max speed. Maybe Rios just took some speed out of his Zacian. Yo, what's good, Nick? Yeah, no, all of us, everyone in chat, we're just too sexy to wake up at 3 a.m. or even like 11 a.m. to watch semifinals. Maybe that's just me. As you can tell, I need all the beauty sleep I can get. What I really need is a haircut. I need a haircut before May regionals. I'm going to all 3 regionals in May in North America, so I'm trying to like delay my haircut so I can look good for all 3 of them at once and not have to worry about how I look during like finals period. Okay, yeah, we saw sub in the last set on stream, so I think Eric probably knew that it was sub. Getting that intimidated off while he had the chance. Getting a sub up would have been really, really important for Javier. That would have put him in a great spot. So yeah, just stopping that from happening is important. That was another key to the matchup that we saw. Yeah, just like if sub goes up, then it's so hard for the Sun player to come back a lot of times because they have to like commit a bunch of attacks into the Zacian when they have intimidate cycling otherwise, and they have we were testing it with Zard, so it's I guess that could still be a Zard. We don't know the last month, but yeah. Let's see. So takes a KO, trades KOs. Nope. Yeah, okay. Takes a KO on the Blasters. Fair enough. I guess the Rillaboom. Eric's saying the Rillaboom is a threat probably means that he has the Gastrodon back. That's my take. Not that it really matters. They don't have a choice. No, it's a Zard. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think you do want Zard in this matchup, but it's a little awkward. No, it's not. I think Eric is pretty safe. Both his Pokemon threaten the Rillaboom. The Rillaboom gets and the Zacian. The Rillaboom does get a fake out here, but the Zacian can't take a KO, and so whatever doesn't take the KO gets the KO on Zacian. Double protect. Oh, I don't know if I like that. I don't think you get to double protect. I think you get to. Oh, okay. For Sun, maybe you think Rillaboom lives in attack, but yeah, okay, fair enough. I think you get to call that turn right. If you were Javier, I think you needed to like, if you're protecting Zacian, right, you can at least get fake out chip on something. No, that's not worth it. I know he has high horsepower. He could have high horsepower the Incin, maybe, and then put it in Sacred Sword range, but then he loses the Pokemon. Was there any other counterplay? Like, he's still losing is the problem. He doesn't. I don't know if he had a great piece of counterplay to what Eric went for, and funnily enough, like the best play would have been fake out the Zard and protect the Zacian just to get chip damage off, which isn't even that good. So, yeah, I don't know. Here's Sacred Sword. I don't know if he was in sub range yet. I think he just missed it. Yeah, he wasn't. He was at 45. That's not 45 means you'd have to be at 189 HP stat. And there we see highest power and the Shucca Berry. So yeah, not quite picking up the Intin. That does it. Yeah. All right. So yeah. There's no way the Rillaboom Oko's the Zard. Let's see the Stone Edge Rillaboom right now. I mean, I guess he could like miss 3 Blast Burns or something. Okay, and so no Woodhammer, I guess. And I think it was Miracle Seed. I don't know if we saw an item. There's one. It's got to be like 5. Yeah, there it is. Okay. All right. So that's game 1. Eric did really well there. I don't know if Javier had a safe play even with his Blastoise Weezing line, which kind of lends credence to like it not actually being the Rinja Sun counter. Although it is obviously, it throws Rinja Sun off its metagame, off its like standard game. Brain is fried. Throws Rinja Sun off its like standard lines a little bit, which is definitely important. And it's just that like the rest of the team is so weak to Rinja Sun that he tried to like put the 2 mons that do best into it. But if you put Blastoise Weezing on a team that like has a real like Zacian is not a good restricted in this matchup. Most people don't bring Zacian. Like, it's very common to not bring Zacian because, as you saw, okay, well now you have to fight against through a Groudon and a Charizard and an Incin, none of which it does very much into, right? So it did outspeed the opposing Zacian. If it didn't, then you were in a really bad spot. So yeah, I don't know. Again, I think Eric can really safely Quake Behemoth Blade the Weezing. If I'm Eric, that's what I'm doing. The Groudon being faster than Blastoise is really important. I think that if the Blastoise was faster, maybe he gets to like cannonade the Zacian really safely and take that KO, and then you're like trading pretty favorably, I guess. But then Sun goes up and you're like not in a great spot. Okay, so here trying to deal with the play that I just did. Like, I think it's still winning. You know, like you're breaking the Shaka Berry through Protect, so it's not even a big deal. You get to Max Quake it next turn, and you don't have to you commit your Behemoth Blade into it, so you can like Protect or Sub. I don't think he has Sub, but you know, yeah. Strike. Okay, so that's off Fake Out, so it's doing like 3 damage, but it does give you speed control, which means that Weezing is probably faster than the Groudon and gets a Wisp off. I guess that's the game plan. Yeah, Dialga wants... No, you just don't get to bring Dialga. Dialga... I talked about this yesterday, but Dialga was a really popular pick for like 2 weeks in this metagame, in the early metagame, and then it fell off because it just had no Sun matchup, because it just dies to Zard, and it doesn't do well into Double Ground. It just did not have a matchup here. And so it's not surprising to me that, like, you do have... It's not surprising that he's not bringing Dialga. You do have to, like, commit to a different Dynamax against Sun if you're going to build a Dialga team. And that's what Javier did. He did it really well. That's the other thing. Like, Zacian also does really poorly into it. And there's a world where you don't bring a restricted. It's not a great line, but it is a line. P2 does a lot in this matchup. Slows the pace of the game down. Like, stops Zard from powering through your team. Yeah, so here's the KO on the Weezing. The Sun goes back up, so the Blastoise does very little damage. I assume it has an Ice move. Like, it can click Max Hailstorm if it wants to turn off Sun, and give the... Yeah, there it is. Okay. It doesn't KO because the Groudon got some Quake boosts off, but the Groudon has to switch out now if it wants to reset Sun for the Zard, and otherwise the Zard isn't... The Zard is still doing a lot of damage. It's still clicking Blast Burn into Rillaboom. It's still clicking Blast Burn into Zacian and KOing both of them, although Zacian does have Sub, which gives it a little bit more protection against that. And Residual is obviously really impactful. So now the Groudon's taking Burn Chip, Hail Chip, and Cannonade Chip every turn, just getting chipped down so quickly, even though it has those defense boosts. And yeah, I think being the fasterization is so important for Javier, because he is putting himself in a position where he is setting up the chip damage and his opponent isn't. And so that means that you can KO Zacian even without committing an attack into it earlier in the game. Until the instant switches in, and then you just suddenly don't. But, you know. Yeah, actually, come to think of it, Groudon for Instant is really safe. No, he goes... Okay. Zacian for Instant is also pretty safe. You don't want to lose your Zacian just yet, I guess. And I honestly, I don't think Sun is even that valuable for you. So putting Zard in Hail means that you're not taking Solar Power Chip, you're taking Hail Chip. Although I don't know if Javier was supposed to commit his attack into Groudon. Obviously, like it was burnt, and it was Zacian could have like subbed up, for example, if it really wanted to, and then if you double the no, you couldn't double because you could protect the Zacian. That would be really bad, but I don't know if I want... I think I want the Groudon staying on the field and doing nothing for as long as possible. Yep, so here, pivoting out into Zard, putting a lot of pressure, threatening the KO on Blastoise, I believe. Yeah, oh yeah, the Blastoise were at really low health. So now the Zard is pretty much free. Like, there's a Rillaboom Zacian on field, that's not doing shit. Although, you are slowly chipping the Charizard into Behemoth Blade range. I think that -1 Behemoth Blade KOs from here, neutral Behemoth Blade, -1 Behemoth Blade, which is 2 Intimidates, would not KO, I don't think. But The Zacian can't even sub safely. Well, it can. It can fake out sub pretty safely. Fake outs. If you fake out sub, then you're. If you fake out the Zacian sub, you get your Oh no, you just fake out the you fake out the Zard and you Behemoth Blade, or you call the switch and you Sacred Sword to the Ensign, which was a Zacian until earlier, and that's just a really safe play. And now you're definitely in. Yeah, and that he just read the really obvious switch, and so now it's in Grassy Glide range. And I think that, I think Javier's in a good spot. He did have to make that read, but I mean, that wasn't a hard read to make. You use a double protect, and then Grassy Glide, Behemoth Blade, and it's just pretty safe. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's fair. Now it's Eric did call the double protect, which is what I would have done, and instead is. I don't know if I like that play. That play might have lost to fake out Blast Burn. I mean, that might have been Javier. That might have been Eric's out. Although, I mean, at this level, both players know they're really good. Both players are like. If Eric was switching out, he was maybe supposed to protect the Zard, just so that he could cover for a play like that, because the Zard wasn't getting an attack off. If he was like in this situation when you are behind, you have to make a read that wins you the game, right? You don't get to make a read that, like, if he's reading the double protect play, then Blast Burn isn't doing anything. So there's no reason to Blast Burn or attack with Zard. So in that case, you just protect to cover the other option. Or if he is, or if you expect them to attack, right? Then the attack is always KOing the Charizard. There's no reason to, I guess like there's no reason to. Again, there's still no reason to attack. I just think that Protect Zard is always correct, unless you were faking out that turn. The exception to that is, I guess, like Grassy Glide into Grassy Glide into Instant Behemoth Blade Zard, but then that you cover for that, or no, you don't. Grassy Glide Instant Protect Zacian is the play that you cover for, but is that really that like impactful a play? Yeah, I guess that's a pretty reasonable play. Okay, that's fair, right? Like he really could have made the Grassy Glide Instant Protect play. And now he gets the double fake, but he didn't. And I don't know. I don't like Javier's play. I think that's really aggressive when he didn't need to be that aggressive. But he did call him out and got the KO. Although I don't know what Grassy Glide into Zard really did. Like, I don't think it accomplished anything. It just like led to unnecessary risk. Yeah. I'm still very confused. Why are these attacks going into the Ensign? Is it banned? No, it can't be. That's protect. Wait, what? Yeah, why did the attack go into the Ensign? He has to high. Wait, what? Did Javier? They're going to get 3? Yes? No? They keep just over? Who forfeited? Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Okay. So, high horsepower is not going to get there into Zacian, but like you KO Instant without Grassy Gliding the Instant, right? And then you get a high horsepower off, and then you live one Behemoth Blade and you high horsepower again, and maybe that gets there, but also the Grassy Glide into the Zard, which is wasted damage. You could have easily either went for the Grassy Glide into Instant or high horsepower, the Instant, which is also safe because you just have speed and you take the KO anyways. You wasn't calling out the Zacian Protect Beluga because even if the Zacian protected, you are still KOing the Incineroar, so you didn't need to target that slot. It just like, I don't know, like I feel like that was Javier's game to win. He still had an uphill battle. Like I don't think the matchup was actually that good. I think Eric played it really well. And like Eric called turn 1 wrong and still was in a very good position, which speaks to the strength of that lead into this team. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm calling that not necessarily like a hard throw, but like certainly like a soft throw, like not playing to your outs. But yeah, okay. So takeaway from that. Turns out Blastoise Weezing not actually the like counter team. Maybe the best you can do when you're too restricted suck into the matchup, right? Like you do have to, like, that is, if you put Blastoise Weezing on a team that isn't Dialga Zacian, like if you put it on, I don't know, like an Yveltal team, if you put it, like that's the other team that I've seen a lot of Blastoise on, maybe a Calyrex team, maybe you just like get to win the matchup that way because you have like a second restricted you can bring. You know, like if you get to do Blastoise Weezing and then you have a Calyrex in back, a Calyrex Shadow in back, I think you can't lose. That actually might just be the auto win. You do have a really hard time with like every other team. You know, you're not like you don't have, like Rashid said, if you put the Blastoise Weezing on the team, then you lose to Kyogre, and you need Pokemon that beat Kyogre. And Calyrex Shadow does not beat Kyogre naturally. It does need like help with that. So, I don't know. That's food for thought. Like, I think Javier did two things, right? He showed that he has this lead that does really well into this matchup, provided you have any Pokemon that can do anything in back, and he just didn't because that's just how the team was constructed. And also, he showed that Dialga Zacian is still really strong if you can figure out a game plan for Rinya Sun. And like, I imagine it works into Rinya Sun players that are not exactly Eric Rios, because Eric Rios is, you know, at this point, like the way he's playing, he might be the best player in the world at this moment, you know. So there's no shame in losing to Eric Rios at this point. But at the same time, like that kind of like showed everyone how to play this matchup on a really high profile stage. So yeah, I don't know. I think Dialga Zacian, or Dialga in general, still very good. You know, it dominates Kalias Palkia. It is still a very positive Pokemon into Kyogre. It's not great into Yveltal. It's not great into other Groudon variants, and it's not great into Calyrex Shadow, although it's pretty neutral into Calyrex Shadow, I think. Because you get to click Max Quake and kind of outdamage them sometimes. But still, like I think it's a real restricted, and it got to stay in the Thun today or yesterday. Not so much today, I guess. I do like the new animations. I like that they have more stuff going on. Oh, that's the next matchup. Let's go back. Right, okay. So this was the spicy team. Oh man, did they not show which Calyrex it is? I love that they're using like base form Calyrex in their little in their thing. That's so funny. Let's see. So we have Calyrex Ice, Gastrodon, Reshiram, because why would you need Palkia when you can run Reshiram? Mimikyu, Instant, Amoonguss. So very, very cool team from Alex. Versus Giacomo, I believe, using a pretty standard Shed Kyogre team. I don't remember the exact 6 that got second to Liverpool, but this might just be the exact same 6. Can pull it up. Let's see. Liverpool regionals. Thomas Gravoy. I butchered that name too, I'm sure. No, it's not the exact same. There's a Whimsicott and then Thundurus on that team. This has there's a Whimsicott and a Regieleki on this team. There's a Kartana and a Thundurus on that team. So that's the difference, I guess. Okay. I guess let's pause real quick. I have no idea what's going on with Alex's team. It's certainly Reshiram is certainly a meta call. I don't know. I just don't like this team gets to do Calyrex Ice stuff, right? It has all the good Calyrex Ice Pokemon, minus like Dusclops, I guess, which is there. Mimikyu is there instead of Dusclops. And I don't hate that, but I do think Dusclops is really valuable in the matchup. Although with the Reshiram, you have a little better time into Amoonguss, so maybe you don't have to worry about it nearly as much. And then Giacomo is just like a pretty standard team, but Reshiram, I believe, just ignores. Reshiram just ignores the Mold Breaker ability, right? Right. That's or the Shedinja. It just gets to KO it, right? Reshiram has Turbo Blaze, so I should know this. Yeah, it's Turbo Blaze. Turbo Blaze should ignore Shadow. What's the ability called? How am I forgetting this? Wonder Guard. That's it. Yeah. So Giacomo probably not allowed to bring Shed. Shed does soak up turns from Calyrex Ice pretty well, but Alex's team in general, you would think it's pretty weak into Kyogre, especially Max Kyogre. That's my thought. The Gastrodon's obviously there specifically for that. Alex has to bring... Alex has to bring Amoonguss Gastro. Probably bring Calyrex Ice still, even though Calyrex Ice looks pretty mediocre in this matchup. It's just Calyrex Ice is your best Pokemon. Otherwise, you're really reliant on Reshiram to do damage into a Sun team, which feels really bad. And you can see he brought Reshiram. So that's one thing you could do. With Giacomo, I think that you always bring Kyogre. He must have Energy Ball and Whimsicott, because otherwise you don't have ways to hit the Gastrodon. I don't think. This is something that I've seen people do, is just like kind of disrespect Gastrodon with Kyogre teams. Say, I'm going to max the Kyogre, I'm going to either click Max Strike or Max Hailstorm, and power through everything that's next to Gastrodon, and deal with it at the very end of the game with my Zacian, plus my Kyogre with Ice Beam, plus my Shedinja potentially, all those different things. So, we'll see. I am interested in seeing what happens. Yeah, so hype. What are you up to? You wanna hop on? All right. So yeah, like I said, you wanna max the Kyogre. I don't think this team had a ton of counterplay to Amoonguss on it, so getting rid of that is really important. Um, Alex kind of reading like again, he just doesn't really doesn't have a ton of options. He wants to yeah, just doesn't have a ton of options. Has to play really passively around this Kyogre, and then you just had the chance to. He had to respect the Kyogre max, but by doing that, he made himself vulnerable to like all this other stuff they could do. So yeah, I don't know. I like Giacomo. Just click the right button there. Right, just get the Hailstorm off. Now he is not able to Geyser for the rest of the. Yo, wait, hold up. That was hype. How do I? Okay. Okay, so Worry Seed, very cool tech. Give me 1 second here. How do I? Oh, okay, cool. There was some spam in chat that I wanted to get rid of, but someone got it. No, that's chat. That's chat right there. All right. So, Worry Seed, very cool tech. I guess that's his Gastrodon answer. I guess you don't want to run a grass move on Whimsicott. I don't know, like, why did you just Energy Ball it? I guess you get to ignore it this way. Is the reason, and that's probably a better thing than just actually KOing it sometimes. But kind of got gamed out there with the Protect. Protect just really safe. Like honestly, I would protect it too because I don't know the sets. I'd be terrified of Energy Ball, and so you have to protect the gas around that turn. Um, yeah, like I don't know that I think the Worry Seed Geyser play was really greedy. Actually, like I don't know. I don't know if you have a better play there, but maxing the Gastro is not the Pokemon I expected. Um, but I guess you get to live geysers now pretty safely. And Glacial Lance is just going to KO this Whimsicott, so it's like okay. hmm Yeah, that might have been better than just maxing the. I just feel like Gastro is such a non-Pokemon when you don't have Storm Drain. That being said, like I think the Worry Seed play was really greedy, and now I think that suddenly Alex is in a much better spot. I don't know what Rescue I'm supposed to do other than like endgame the Zacian though. Um, and the Inson is probably just going down. I guess we don't know the item. Although it looks like the item is not Choco Berry, which is not ideal. Unboosted Gastron still not doing very much damage, but maybe Spout gets there. Origin Pulse. No, it's got Quake Boost. It's not going to get there. Yeah. Oh, it was also just full. I forgot they targeted the Calyrex last turn. Yeah. So okay. Yep. So Inson comes out. Just want to have more options into. I don't know. Maybe that was a little aggressive. You don't really want to get quaked, but with Zacian either, you need the Zacian at the end game for this Calyrex Ice, but you also need the Inson to like intimidate spam and click fake out a couple times. Um, the Gastron could switch out. It reasonably could. It likes its boost right now, but oh, it could be Shaka. Right. Calyrex Ice was on field. Yep. And we just see recover. So if you have protect and recover, that probably means you don't have yawn, which is an interesting choice. That gives you another like end game option with this team, like another way to just win games. Um, I think that maybe okay. One thing that could have happened was at this point, I think there's been a lot of scouting. Giacomo might have been like heard that this Gastrodon has recover and just assumed that it didn't have protect, which is not an unreasonable thing to assume in that situation. Because I think that most Gastrodons had not bothered to drop Yawn. That is, I think Yawn is really good, but maybe on this team the pacing doesn't work out in a way where you get to like Yawn stuff a couple times in the same way that you do on like a Groudon team or like an Evil team where you really do get to force switches a little more effectively and punish switches a little more effectively. And there's the weakness policy. Yeah, no surprise there. Obviously just expecting to get that KO and just didn't get it. I guess expecting is the wrong word. You just needed to get that KO to have a chance of winning the game. So yeah, I mean that's probably going to do it. Definitely going to do it. The instant does not stand up to the rest of the mons. Reshiram did not do very much that game. It like did nothing actually. So still trying to figure out why this isn't a Palkia. Because Palkia is obviously better in this matchup. Maybe not because like it threatens the shed is the one thing that it does get to do. And invalidating shed is pretty valuable because I don't think the Palkia Cali Ice team always has great responses to it, other than setting up hail. So that's like something, I guess. So going into game two, I don't like the Worry Seed lines. I don't think that's like consistent enough into Gastro, but I don't know. Maybe it is. It clearly wasn't enough this game. Let's put it that way. Although I don't hate the idea of I'm just going to do what I can to ignore this Gastrodon for as long as possible, and that includes not KOing it with Energy Ball and instead Worry Seeding it. Unless Worry Seed has other applications. Like Worry Seed is also... Oh, okay. Worry Seed is a Shedinja out. That is something, right? You could just say, I don't have answers to Shedinja on this team other than my own Shedinja, so I'm just going to Worry Seed them when I have the chance. And that's like... I guess it has like other uses. Perhaps there's... So you said there's anti-synergy between Palkia and Gastro, and he valued the Gastro more than... And so he looked for other restricteds. That is... I guess that's not unreasonable. Yeah, that's a... I don't know. I don't think I think Palkia is just so good into Kyogre teams that you value the Palkia more. But I guess like Gastrodon is not a Pokemon I want to put on my teams. It's a Pokemon that I have to put on my team sometimes. But it's not a Pokemon that I'm like, seeking out very often. But that's just like my philosophy. I guess that's very different for other people. And so here we see the Fake Out Trick Room play. Really just going for the... Wait, was that Scarf Ogre? No, the Zacian moved first. Okay. So, but yeah, still just like, I guess not Spadef invested Mimikyu. Needed to get Trick Room up no matter what. Worry Seed also counters Amoonguss. Not really. Because you can't Worry Seed your Zacian. You can Worry Seed your Kyogre safely. Because you're already set Rain up. You can't Worry Seed a Zacian. Actually, no, you can't, right? You could. Intrepid Sword, I think you can get rid of it. Maybe, okay, sure, I sort of buy that, but... And this consolidates the need for a Grass move and Taunt on the team. I don't know. Gastro was Soft Sand to help with Zacian and Instant Calcs. That is very interesting. That's fair, though. Leftovers is a good item, but you don't need it. We saw Rindo on stream yesterday. Right, and that put in work. That won a game. So, you're allowed to experiment with Gastro items. And, I mean, it makes maxing the Gastro a lot more valuable, and it still doesn't do enough damage, though. So, yeah, but obviously, I don't know. I like the lines where you ignore Gastro a lot more. Then I like the lines where you try to power through it, especially given that Alex maxed Gastro last game. But you start giving it boosts, and that's where like, okay, you can give it boosts if you have a way to KO it, and it's clear that Giacomo does not have great ways to actually KO this Gastrodon. Maybe it's more reasonable if there's a Sheddy in back, and there it is. Yep, okay. But then if there's a Sheddy in back, I think you just start hitting the other Pokemon. And you say that you're winning the endgame versus Gastrodon, even if it's at +3. But this does well with Calyrex Ice, which did get some boost stuff. But you're still taking a ton of damage from like a Glacial Lance on Kite. You're not taking that much. You did max. But +2 is big still. That's a ton of damage. I'd say that's a ton of damage. And there's the Hailstorm, so it must be Safety Goggles Shed. Let's see. Yeah, okay. It is Goggles. I think that Goggles is fine. I think that unless you were confident they knew that it was Goggles, I wouldn't reveal it. If this was in Day 1 Swiss, I would have tried to hit the Calyrex Ice with any other move just to not reveal that I was Goggles. And force them to think that they have to put 2 attacks into it, which I think changes the way they play their endgame. So there's just damage, yeah. Not too surprising plays there. Putting attacks into Shed feels really bad. I think he just like wants to endgame it as effectively as possible. I mean, everything's at really low health, so this Mimikyu is in a really good spot, right? You can't even like try to ally switch stuff to get out of it because everything is dying to the Shadow Sneak anyways. And also the Kyogre setting up Hail is awkward now because I think it just dies to Hail Chip at this point. Yeah. The Shetty is, I guess the Shetty might just beat the Mimikyu, right? It gets, no, it's not Sash, right? It's not Sash. That's important. So it doesn't beat the Mimikyu. Also, the Mimikyu might have Wisp, at which point it wins anyways. So putting the Mimikyu into Shadow Sneak range, I guess, is the game plan here. Surely the Mimikyu is faster than the Shed. No, it might not be. You just have points to put in wherever you want, right? So Shed probably just goes max speed, max attack. And so you might be able to Shadow Sneak it before it Shadow Sneaks you. Or you just Endure and Darkest Lariat. But yeah, that's oh, he was calling the ally switch. I see. Nah, there was no reason to ally switch there. Is it gonna be timer stall? That's the yo, that's the out. Gastrodon KOs Incin, right, and then just has recover, and it timer stalls the Shed. Is like actually the way that this game gets over. Maybe. Alex playing to timer is correct. Is like absolutely correct here. And that is a good thing for recover, right? Like, yeah, recover Gastro can stall out Shed, provided you can KO Incin. If you don't OHKO the Incin, then it's Will-O-Wisp too. I think they've been dropping Will-O-Wisp, and it's not Lariat. Is that it? Is there a reason? Yeah. So and I think we saw that it wasn't Chaka, or we didn't see that it wasn't Chaka, and now we see that it wasn't Chaka. Maybe Chaka was revealed earlier. I don't think it was. I might have missed it. But yeah, we see that. I don't think it gets Toxic anymore. Also, Toxic isn't that good just because you don't really get to play to these endgames as much as you would think. Wisp is just good enough into these endgames. Toxic's only good into Recover a Gastrodon, which is not really a Pokemon right now. But yeah, no Poltergeist is really hurting. Poltergeist would have made it so these two Pokemon outdamage it, and yeah, we do see Lariat. So this is fun. I love timer endgames. I know this is like not good to watch, but I think they're very funny. And they're clever, right? Like you have to be smart enough to find the timer endgames, which is not a given. I don't know if that was supposed to be Recover. I guess it kind of was, so you don't get hurt by the ally switch, but you do have to like hit this Incin eventually. I guess you don't have to. You do have to hit it eventually, but like not that quickly. And I don't think that the layout tells us when there's 3 minutes left, which is going to be a little frustrating to watch. I'm going to put this at 2x speed from 1.5 because there's just no reason to. We know what's happening, right? This Gastrodon has to take a KO and then recover off all the damage until it wins on timer. And it really should. It should have the time. Yeah. So now the game is pretty much over. We'll see if Giacomo just concedes or plays it out. It's not unreasonable to play it out, right? You can still like crit Shadow Sneak or whatever. Not even crit does it, but like I don't know. Hope that Alex runs out of PP and didn't like PP max recover. In fact, I'm going to. I said I love timer endgames. I don't love watching timer endgames, but I also don't love watching Pokemon. So, I love finding timer endgames. I think it's very fun to find endgames where you can win on timer. It's always very creative. I do almost wish I had commentary turned on because I enjoy watching commentators like try to figure out how to fill space here. Although I'm sure that they did actually we see the your time in the bottom left, which is very relevant, right? We see that they have 58 seconds versus 418, so he is running out of time pretty quickly. And then this is also where it's very notable that if you run out of your time on the same turn that they run out of the overall timer, you still win. But yeah. The Reshiram team taking the W by Recover Gastrodon, kind of showing its worth there too, right? Like Recover is a move that it had commonly run, and stopped running in this metagame in favor of the ice coverage, but like it is still a threat. It still gets to win certain end games, especially if you're giving it def boosts. You get to like make sure it's alive for when you need it to be alive, and especially if people are trying to power through it, it's very valuable. If people are trying to ignore it, which they normally do, it's less good. And I think that's the line that most Kyogre teams are taking. Either like ignore it and then endgame it with the grass type, or just kind of kill it with the grass type. But killing it with the grass type is a lot harder when you have a Reshiram on it. So I think they are going for the ignoring lines, at which case maybe Recover isn't that good. But I do kind of agree with the idea that like you don't really get to yawn on a Calyrex Ice team. You don't really get to like, yeah, you don't get to yawn with the Calyrex Ice team. The positioning is a lot harder. So it doesn't take advantage of your opponent repositioning, because the way that opponents are trying to play against Cali Ice Reshiram is repositioning their Incineroar anyway. So yawning isn't that valuable. Whereas against a Groudon team, with a Groudon team or with an Eviltal team, you do get to take advantage of yawn a little more effectively. So I don't hate Recover. In fact, I quite like Recover, and it also gives you another out into Shedinja, which shouldn't be a problem for a Reshiram team, but obviously, and honestly, like, it might not have been, right? We saw that it was not Sash Amoonguss, or not Sash Shedinja, and so Mimikyu might have been able to deal with it anyways, provided the, like, instant wasn't there. And if Mimikyu had a Wisp, it also just, like, got to Wisp against the Shedinja, and ignore Goggles, ignore Sash, which it didn't have, and ignore Shadow Shield, and just get rid of it. And you can't protect on that. You can endure on that. You can't endure on that. You can protect on that, but no one's running protect anymore because it doesn't work against max moves, right? So, just some thoughts on the matchup. Very cool. And I know that team also does very well, right? I mean, it is 9-2 right now. It needs to go 10-3, I believe, to make top cut. All right, so who are these players? I don't think I recognize either of them. Don't recognize one of them because it seems like that one is a judge. Or they both are judges. Yes, that is correct. They are both judges. Okay. Who? Okay. I also don't recognize these players. Is that, yeah. I mean, that's the pandemic for you, right? Who knows who these, how people look different, people have masks on. It is kind of hard to tell who's who a lot of times. Now, Marcus, okay, versus Casti. So we saw Casti yesterday. We did not see Marcus yesterday. Marcus actually went, Marcus went 0-2 to 7-2, which is very, very impressive. And I mean, just that's a crazy run. And then I do know he makes top 8, so that's insane. That's a crazy run. Casti did, I think, an X1. He was 8-1 after day 1, and so he must have lost a round earlier. But with a Lunala team, with a Lunala Groudon team, so Lunadon is another thing that's picking up in popularity after Liverpool regionals, especially, where it where it just like it got to one top 8 slot, and then people started experimenting with it more. But I think that like it already started to see a little bit of play. Again, my gripe with Lunadon is that you have to hit a bunch of attacks that you don't want to have to hit for 13 rounds in this tournament, or 14 rounds. That feels awful. But when you hit those attacks, it feels great, and it's such a powerful core. It is maybe the best. I would say it's the best way to run Groudon. That's not Zacian. That's not like exactly Rinja Sun. And I think it has Lunala is a restrictive that you can bring really favorably into Rinja Sun, which means that I think you have a slight advantage in that mirror. But it means you are a lot worse into Eviltal specifically. So, yeah. And for what it's worth, I know that both these players top cut, so I don't know who won this match. Let's see. So, Venudon. One thing I will say is that a lot of Venusaurs are Sash now, especially on this type of team where you have other Pokemon you want to max, like Thundurus, like Groudon, like Lunala. And so it's more of a Sleep Powder bot, and I know that Ishak ran Protect and Sleep Powder and 2 coverage moves. I don't know if what Casti is running on his Venusaur. I don't think we saw it in the first game he was on stream. Marcus's team is somewhat standard. No, it's not even that standard, right? Like we saw Zash and Eviltal. And we didn't see it on. I think like the Zash and Eviltal team that was very common was the team that Snow used, a Japanese player, and then we saw Z top cut Salt Lake City with it, which was Landorus focused, and you really got to abuse like the Eviltal Aleki Landorus core that I think was really powerful along with Zacian. This team does not have a Landorus, but it looks like it's playing a lot more defensively with the Instant, Rilla, Grimmsnarl options. Although Grimmsnarl could be like aggressive, it could be fake tiers, and it could like rely on the fact that Dark Aura boosts its dark moves to do a little more damage too. So I don't know. This team has some ways it could play. Right, the trend in Venu doing well in this event made sense given it does well into Rinya Sun. Yeah, exactly. I thought that Venu was my sleeper pick for this regional, not this regional, this internets. I thought it was the Pokemon that's going to overachieve the most, just because it already saw a lot of usage in like Liverpool, for example, and is quite good into teams that are dropping like Lumberry and Charizard. But here we see just really really respecting that the potential for a Sleep Powder and going Fake Out and Max Electric. But I don't know. Marcus is also maxing the Aleki into Groudon teams, which is like something that is a little strange. It is something that we saw, I think, Aaron do on stream in round one, Aaron Trailer. And so, yeah, it's not my pick for what I would Dynamax, but, you know, if you just KO all the things that are next to Groudon and say you can endgame the Groudon effectively, it might just be good enough. And, I mean, that's fair enough. Like, if you are running Groudon and you intimidate it, right, you probably don't have other switch-ins to Aleki. You're like, yeah, they're not going to bring their Aleki, and if they do, I just kill it with my Groudon. And then you're like, well, I'm going to kill all the slots that are next to Groudon over and over again. And that's like an interesting game plan that I don't think people really thought about. At least I hadn't thought about. But that is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And then also, into Rinya Sun specifically, when they lead Zard and you have something like an Aleki, one Life Orb Aleki Thunderbolt just OHKOs the Zard, unless they put Light Screen up. And two, you just get to pin that slot with Grass Electric coverage because they don't have great switches to that. Like Zacian doesn't want to take an electric move. Grimmsnarl takes a lot from both. Instant doesn't want to take an electric move. So if you can get a strong electric move and grass move into the same slot against Rinya Sun, that is like maybe one of the best ways to deal with it. And it's quite good into Sun in general. Although Venusaur obviously makes that a little bit more difficult. Still took a lot of damage from this Max Lightning. Yeah, so here's the Lunala. And is that maxing the Venusaur? Maxing the like 5 HP Venusaur? I respect it. You still get to you get to take the KO on Aleki with Max Quake, I assume, and then the Rillaboom doesn't KO it unless it has like high horsepower, maybe. Knockoff probably gets there. Woodhammer does. Wow. Oh, it's a crit. Okay. I don't think that got there. I think Marcus's Miracle Seed. It might be AV, but we haven't seen anything. But this looks like it probably is AV Eviltal if it's Life Orb Aleki, and so I assume that means it's Miracle Seed Rillaboom. And so maybe it gets there anyways. It certainly gets there against non-Max Venusaur, which is I guess what Marcus was expecting, but that crit probably mattered quite a bit. Because otherwise, well, did it matter quite a bit? Like, I assumed that Max Quake was going into the Aleki, and then you just have to Grassy Glide at the next turn and take the KO. Moongeist Speed going, taking the KO on Aleki. Yep, that sounds about right. Woodhammer. So that's the other thing that we saw. We saw the like Wolf, Aaron, Marcus contingent seems like where they're really high on the idea that especially into Rinya Sun again, where you want that electric grass pin. If your grass type outspeeds the Groudon and gets to click Woodhammer into it, you just OHKO it unless they Dynamax, right? And so that gives you a lot safer max with Aleki, and also it's really favorable into Groudon teams in general. And so normally we see Groudon go very slow, right? It's normally like, they put some speed investment, but not a ton. Usually just like +1 speed calcs, like outspeeding Charizard at +1, for example, which requires you to hit 112. But maybe Groudon has to start considering going like Turbo Groudon, where no, one US beat Zacian at +1, which is kind of cool if you're max beat Jolly, and also you deal with this Miracle Seed fast Rillaboom that seems to be picking up in popularity, or at least this very cool tech that the Wolf team builder group seems to have come up with. Yeah, I mean, so one of the things I was talking about before the tournament was like, I was like, yeah, there's no way Rin Your Sun wins again. Just because you have so many different like smart groups of people who have been game planning over and over again just to beat this one team. Surely someone is going to come up with like a good way to beat it. And everyone has taken the best shot, and obviously Eric Rios is in finals right now, so it's like it hasn't necessarily worked. But we've seen a lot of really cool ideas that are obviously very targeted towards Rin Your Sun. One of those groups that I fully expected to come out with like this perfect game plan into it was Aaron, Wolf, Marcus, that like group of players who just all phenomenal team builders and have done so well in tournaments. You don't get to face Rin Your Sun 8 rounds. You get to face it maybe once in this tournament, maybe twice. And I don't know who they lost to. Although Wolf bubbled out of cut, Marcus bubbled into cut, and Aaron missed cut altogether. But they all made day 2, which is very impressive. So there's definitely some merit to this. Some merit to like the Bosco's Wheezing idea. Like there's there was like I think 1 or 2 Rin Your Sun in day 2. And then Eric Rios is just a god. He just did everything he could. So I don't know. Like it's still a very good team, right? It's still gonna be everywhere in at regionals. I think that people like there's a lot of people, especially in North America, that I know of who are just like, yeah, I'm just gonna get really good with this team. And there's also a lot of people who are like, I'm just gonna get really good with Swordfish, which is also very valid. It's gotten second place at every single event, and I mean, it very reasonably could get second place again at EUIC. So I still think those are the 2 teams to beat, and nothing I've seen here changes that. Although this Eviltal team, the Caliber Shadow team that Wolf and Aaron used, the Lunadon teams that did very well, all of those are definitely like in the metagame, and they're still like things that we have to be scared of. Okay, so we just see Eviltal gets the Airstream off. I missed the Venusaur move. What did the Venusaur do? The Venusaur maxed, right? Okay. The Venusaur maxed and max Quakes, I believe, which is why I took the Airstream so well. Yeah, just like really disrespecting the idea that it could be Sleep Powder this turn, I guess, which is fair. I don't hate it. Force him to hit it, Like the thing about Sleep Powder is, yeah, it's impressive. It's very powerful when it hits, and also when it gets like if you're saying like, yeah, this is fine. If you click your Sleep Powder, you hit the Sleep Powder, and you get a 2-turn sleep you need that you win the game. That's a 50-50. If they only need a 1-turn sleep to generate enough advantage out of it, then they're favored. But if they need a 2-turn sleep, then suddenly you're just flipping a coin. And especially when you're up 1-0 in the series, you are allowed to flip a coin just a little more than if you're down a 1. When you have to win 2 straight, you need to find a more consistent game plan in that case. So Casty making the play that I would make if I was down 0-1, and Marcus making the play that I would make if I was up 1-0, I guess. So that Spadef boost really coming in clutch. And giving the Zacian the speed boost, which allows it to outspeed the Venusaur too, which is very relevant. That means it has to be, I believe, 195 speed at the very least. But and we see Weather Ball come out. Yeah, so trading the Groudon for the Zacian that turn, pretty reasonable. The Eviltal is obviously just the big threat in this matchup because there's a Lunala on the team. But interestingly, we didn't see the Tapu Fini game 1. You would think that you'd bring that into Eviltal, but obviously it doesn't do very much into the rest of Marcus's team. So it's obviously there for like Amoonguss primarily and maybe opposing Venusaur, but you don't really want to bring Fini into opposing Venusaur. Maybe like if you're really scared of Will-O-Wisp on your Groudon, that doesn't seem like a thing that you should be scared of. No, it's probably like when you want to set up Trick Room with Lunala, but there's an Amoonguss on the opposing team, you have to bring Fini, is I assume what it's for. I was talking to Alex Underhill yesterday when we were looking at the teams that did well, and he was testing out the team with Fini on it, and he was like, yeah, like, I never want to bring Fini. It always feels like a dead slot. I need it on the team because I lose to Amoonguss, but I'm just going to hope that they don't bring Amoonguss because if they bring it into Fini, they have a dead slot. I was like, I don't know if that's true. Amoonguss is Amogus is not dead, even if there's a Feeny. You just can't click Spore. It exerts a lot less pressure. It can still click Follow Me. So I don't know if I like Feeny in general. Also, this team looks very similar to the a team that I think Edu used in Series 8. I think Cassie might have used it too. I think Cassie probably did use it in a VR tour. Except there was a Porygon 2 over the Lunala, is what I remember, if I remember correctly. And I thought that the P2 Instant Feeny Groudon core was very powerful. And so, yeah, it's I think it still is pretty powerful, but you need a second restricted, and the Venusaur is probably too good to drop. So, yeah, makes sense. I also use the team. I caught a Terra Rune challenge with it, which is the Japanese tournament that I had to like stay up all night for. It was a 3v3 too. It was me, Sohaib, and Tommy. And we cut that tournament. That was fun. That was a 3v3s are fun. There's a Smogon 3v3 ghosting tour that is going on right now. We actually just got knocked out by another group of players who were actually at EUIC. But that's a fun tournament. I love 3v3s. You just like Pokemon is so much more fun when you get to hang out with your friends while doing it. 3v3s are also really common in Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I think that we need more 3v3s in Pokemon. In Yu-Gi-Oh! There are YCSs, which are like the internet's equivalent or regional equivalent. It's like somewhere in between, where you are playing a 3v3 and you have your players all sit 1, 2, 3, right, and the player in the middle gets to help the other two players while they're playing. And the players on the sides get to help the middle player, but usually the middle player is the best player. Harder to do in Pokemon because there's a time limit, right? There's like an inbuilt time limit. But I think that's like such a cool concept. It seems really fun. I wish we got to do something similar to that. And the 3v3 ghosting tour is probably the closest thing that we've had to that. And sadly, it was single Elim, and we got knocked out. Also, we see the Lunala team lose to the Evoltal team. No surprise there. Marcus played that really well. Marcus had the tech, right? The fast Rillaboom was really, really good there. He did get the crit game 1, which probably might have mattered a little bit. I don't think it mattered that much if the Max Quake was going into Elky, but if Cassie called the turn right, then it mattered for sure. But I'm not surprised that the Evoltal team beat the Lunala team. Is this sort of it? What is the best core Uber with Groudon? It is still Zacian. Zacian is still the best Pokemon. Lunala is an anti-meta pick. We saw Joe do well with Evoltal. I think Evoltal is a very fair team. It is similar to Kali Ice Palkia, in my opinion, in that it has a slightly negative matchup into everything, and you have to like play very, very well the entire tournament to do well with that team. We saw we didn't get to see, but Joe played Wolf in Swiss in day 1 and lost, even though Wolf was on Calyrex Shadow, which is sort of you would think Evoltal is really good into Calyrex Shadow. It turns out it's just even into that matchup. It's not even that good. So you just have to outplay, and it's really hard. But at the same time, and here we go. There is Joe. At the same time, it's not all that bad to especially if you are a player of Joe's caliber. It's okay to say I just have to outplay every round, or even in a regional. I would be comfortable saying, yeah, I just get to outplay my opponents every round, and I'm going to win more often than I'm not. And I can cut a regional saying I'm going to outplay my opponents every round. I don't know if I can cut an internets saying I'm going to outplay my opponents every round. But that's just completely speculative. So Victor using, this is a cool team. So Victor's using Sunrain, this is the team. Let's get it back on screen real quick. So this is the team that John Evans used to win Players Cup 3 back in Series 8, except with a Zacian over the Grimmsnarl. Now, I saw a bunch of people running a similar 6 to this, but with either a Zacian over what used to be a Metagross and is now an Incineroar, or a Solgaleo over that, and I thought that was awful. I think by doing that, you don't understand how the team plays, because you needed to, you didn't bring that last slot. You wanted to bring Torn, Venu, Ogre, Torkoal a lot of times. Like you basically like the Metagross was the least brought slot, and the Incin was also not brought that much outside of specific matchups or like switch ups or whatever. Like you had your flowcharts, I guess. And so tacking a Zacian on the team doesn't actually like fix your problems, and you actually have a hard time finding 4 Pokemon to bring because there is some inherent anti-synergy between your Pokemon. However, Zacian over Grimmsnarl lets you play the team a lot more aggressively, and you're just not saying that Screens plus Venusaur is the best thing that you can do in this format because it's just not anymore, like it was in Series 8 where it really was the best thing you could be doing. And so now instead you have this like aggro mode where you can either go Torn Ogre with the Zacian in back, or you can go you can just abuse Venusaur and then set up your Ogre for the late game and your Zacian for the late game, which is 2 of the best late game sweepers available. So I think this team is cool. I am very interested to see and how Victor pilots the team because I haven't really thought about it too much since the very beginning of this format where people were trying it out and I was disrespecting it. Bringing Evil Dawn feels like a bit like you are not going to face Kieran White. You are not going to face Kieran White. You start 2-0, you are not going to face Kieran White. You're allowed to say you're not facing Kieran White. That's like a 2% usage Pokemon. You know, like and you're allowed to take 1 auto loss in a especially in a 14-round tournament. So less so in like a 7-round tournament, but even 9 rounds, if you need to go 7-2, you're allowed to lose a set just because you have a bad matchup. So I don't hate saying I'm not going to face Kieran White, and if I face it, I got unlucky. And if I face it, I can still go X1 and cut. So this is the thing about Evil Dawn. You saw like you have to make these you have to exert a lot of offensive pressure and then make a lot of defensive switches. And simultaneously like trade Dynamaxes with your opponent. And that's all those things have to work out for you, and so that makes it a really tough team to play. Although Joe is not AV, he is I think Life Orb Eviltal, maybe something else. I think he just wasn't AV. So maybe he gets to abuse it a little more. But I feel like Evil Dawn gets outpaced if they stall out your Dynamax, and as such you need to like trade Dynamax, and also it gets overpowered if your opponent Dynamaxes first. Not always, and P2 Instant gives you, and Sleep Powder on Venusaur gives you the ways to not get outpaced. But wait, hold up. Sorry, one sec. Finish that thought and then try to figure out what happened. But ideally, I think Evil Dawn is trying to match Dynamaxes, saying my Dynamax is going to be more profitable, but then also my non-Dynamax end game is going to be stronger than yours once I've gotten the Max Airstream boost, Max Darkness drops, and Max Quake boosts. So that's kind of like my thought on how Evil Dawn plays. I'm curious about Joe's team because it's a little different from like Ishidok's team, even though it has 5 of the same 6 Pokemon. And did that? Oh, it clicked Heat Wave. Okay. I was like, does it get Burning Jealousy? No, it just clicked Heat Wave. And it got the burn. So that's unfortunate because now potential foul plays can do a lot less, but Eviltal probably clicking mostly special moves, and that Max Electric is very, very good into Victor's team. He only has 1 electric resist. It is a Venusaur, and the problem is you don't even get to like bring Venusaur with the Groudon. You're bringing it with a Torkoal potentially, and that's not great. And so like you see here, like that Venusaur is not doing anywhere near enough, even if it Dynamaxes. So Joe correctly identifying that like you want to max the Alki into this matchup, and I think that's probably the way to approach it. And also now, for what it's worth, Joe has a Groudon in back. He gets to turn off Rain once he deals with this. Venusaur. He could just KO the Kyogre here, but that's not great either because then you actually like the Venusaur might kind of sweep you. If you can deal with the Eviltal first, then Venusaur could reasonably beat Alki, Groudon. Incin is I think the last one. Maybe not the Incin. Okay. Yep. Is that We don't know if it's Scarf Ogre. It could be Scarf Ogre. Scarf Ogre seems like it might make sense on this team. I know we're gonna see this team later. I know that Victor did top cut the tournament, and Joe also top cut the tournament. So there's Protect. So it's not Scarf. Thunderbolt. Yep. O-Wing. We see the Koba. I think Joe's just playing like he's ahead, which is pretty reasonable. The fact that Joe has used a different team with great success in almost every tournament speaks volumes about how well he's playing right now. Yes, he is also a full-time content creator. He has a lot more time than other people, and so he is allowed to like grind a different team every week, whereas the rest of us have to use our time a little like use our practice time a little more. Like I don't have time to practice with a different team every week as much, and that also is like if you're a professional streamer and you get to like practice a team on stream and you get to combine your job with Pokemon, that like definitely helps, I think. But also, I mean, the fact that he's cut every tournament says a lot about how well he's playing. It's insane to cut. He reasonably could have gotten second to Salt Lake City. I don't think he was ever winning the mirror against Chungju in finals, but reasonably could have. I know he top cut Internats. Did he go to Liverpool? I don't think he did. But yeah, no. Joe's on another level right now. And I mean that just shows like how much practice can do, right? Like he has been grinding nonstop and just it's like he's been grinding nonstop and is showed what practice and what like effective practice can result in. Wait, did Joe throw? What happened? I was like half watching. I figured the game was over. Okay, we're gonna go back to the Alki turn, right? This is where he KO'd Alki. Okay, so for what it's worth, the Protect on Kyogre, not too surprising. He just like kind of let it go down, and then he brings in Groudon. Groudon giving is just a free KO for Venusaur. That is just the freest KO, and the other option was Incin, which forces you to like switch out the Evoltal into Groudon and lose your speed boost, which is also not great, right? So I guess that was a pretty awkward turn. I think he probably just had to call the Kyogre Protect correctly, because if he switches out the Alki, then the Kyogre is suddenly doing a lot less. And maybe switch out Alki into Incin was the play the last turn, and would have been a lot better. But now here we see Max Quake into Groudon doing very little, but getting a Speed Death Boost, which might be important for this Venusaur to live attacks. Oh, no, sorry. He did bring an Instant, then he switched it out into Groudon. So forcing the read there. Getting the... did we see Life Orb on Evoltal? Oh, okay. So it wasn't Life Orb Alki. It was Life Orb Evoltal. It was Magnet Alki. Okay. Opal's just taking the KO on the Groudon. So Victor had that slot pinned. Then Instant comes in. Yeah, this is a loss for Joe. And this is what I was saying, right? Like, you really need to match Dynamaxes with this Evoldon team, because if your opponent gets an endgame Dynamax, they do get to overpower you, and if they get an early game Dynamax, if you have to stall it out with your Venusaur Instant P2, or else you are going to you can often like get to the point where you don't have the resources to win the endgame. But if you match Dynamaxes and they're throwing their attacks into your Dynamax Pokemon, then you are in such a good position in the end game. And so I do think Joe was supposed to max the Alki into this matchup, but this end game is tricky for him. Honestly, the other thing is if he didn't have Groudon, if he had P2 in back, he was also in such a good spot. But it's hard to make the call not to bring Groudon into this team. Is it hard to bring that call? It's obviously going to Zacian, but it's pretty bad into the other Pokemon. And I don't think you ever bring like Torkoal here, right? So it's pretty bad to the other 5 that he could bring, or 4 that he could bring. I don't know if there's a play that Joe could make that won the game. And then Spout. Okay, that takes the KO, so that's fine. Yeah, okay. If Spout KOs Groudon, then it was fine. I mean, so Joe like had the right idea there, right? But I think that I think that he needed to try to time his Dynamax a little better. Also, maybe just don't bring Groudon. That feels bad, but like maybe that's the play too. Um. All right. Let's see. Uh, I need to set my YouTube TV DVR to the Mavericks game because I don't want to miss that either. But I'm gonna finish this first. Can we get Let's Go Mavs in chat? Any other Mavericks fans here? Um, I know my NPA team has multiple Mavericks fans in it. Like inexplicably, we have just three Mavericks fans, and I don't know if Talon's a Mavericks fan, but he's from Texas too. Okay, so yeah, there we go. Let's go Mavs. Okay, so game two. Yo, we got someone who joined.
Yo,
Yo, what's good,
Donald.
Donald?
Not much. I just woke up.
Nice, nice. So you are also an American who needed their beauty sleep and didn't get to
Oh
watch
yeah.
EUIC. All right. So I'll catch you up. We have on stream. We have watched the first, I think, three rounds of Day Two Swiss, and
hmm
we are in round 12. So we are watching Victor Medina, who's running dual weather. He's running John Evans' team, but with a Zacian over the Grimmsnarl, and presumably different sets.
Okay.
Versus the one and only Joe UX9, who is running Evil Dawn. Evil Dawn, Life Orb Evil Tall, Magnet, Eliki, Venusaur, Incin, P2. So Victor took game one and moved on to game two.
Sweet. Anything notable happened game one or just VGC?
Yeah, so I was saying that Joe correctly assessed that like Eliki Max is probably the right play into this team because it only has one electric resist and that's a Venusaur. But
Yeah.
Evil Dawn, from my experience with it, really struggles if you don't match Dynamaxes. Like if your opponent gets a late game max, you often get overpowered,
hmm
and because you don't have like a Zacian, right? You don't have a great way to like deal with it. And your max isn't strong enough to overpower your opponent's team and put you in a commanding position. Usually speak, like you don't like get a Calric Shadow or like a like a Calric Shadow type Pokemon where you just like get a bunch of boosts and get to win the game. And so but you also don't really get to like you don't get to stall out your opponent's Dynamax and then Dynamax because you take too much damage. And that's just like maybe you get to do that with your Incin P2 Venusaur stalling it out. But yeah, that's also really hard. And so ideally, if you're playing with this team, I think you want to match Dynamaxes. Joe maxes Eliki right away, got two KOs, and then lost to Venusaur, Kyogre, and back. So this game is a little more interesting. We see that Joe did Ginch to do what I said and match Dynamaxes, but only after his Porygon 2 got put to sleep. So we'll see
What
if
do you
that.
think of the taunt and sleep powder into the P2 slot? That was kind of interesting.
It was a very safe play, I guess. It covered for a switch out, but you also could have like slept the evil tall, I guess, and been in a better position. It gave a lot of respect to the Porygon 2, which I think is fair. It can be very annoying for the team. Yeah, just getting the Vine Lash up, you got to do that, and you actually just KO the instant now with Vine Lash, which is really nice.
I'm guessing Groudon's going to be in the back.
So,
P2.
so Joe brought Groudon game 1, but I thought it was really bad. Like, I thought he honestly, you kind of want it because there's a Kyogre, but it doesn't do very much into, if you lose your Pokemon, it doesn't do much into Kyogre, doesn't do much into Venusaur, doesn't do much into Torn. I honestly think that there should be an Elekine back, and he just drops the Groudon. But
Sure.
we'll see if he goes with that line. That's just hard to do.
Does Yveltal have Heat Wave?
It's Life Orb, so that's a solid maybe. I haven't seen it yet. I don't think we saw it in his other stream game either.
Really respecting that P2. Taunt,
Yep.
sleep powder, just throwing Sacred Swords into it.
Joe switched out instant turn 1, so Victor doubled the P2 because of fake out or switch. Yeah, okay, fair. That makes sense.
Yeah, playing around fake out. Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if we saw the instant item either, so it might just be goggles, so there was no reason to sleep out of that slot either. Right, so we take the KO. See, now Groudon's a lot better because the Venusaur's dead. Joe did not have the luxury game 1. But also, the Elekine is still doing more into the Kyogre.
Yeah.
And we just see Groudon.
There it is, Groudon. Okay. So Victor has Ogre in the back. Seems like a pretty good position for Victor.
Yeah. And I can't imagine you don't bring Ogre to this matchup. It just is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's the pretty safe play there. Victor is playing like he's won the game, which is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Like, he just gets to double the Evil Tall this turn, and I don't think there's any real counterplay to that. And then the Ogre comes in and wins the game.
I mean, I only watched one game, but I don't know. I don't really see like what Joe's team's really trying to do, you know. But I'm just a evil tall hater, so.
Well, I mean, you got to see what I was doing in the IC a little bit, where I liked Evil Tall Elky as a really, really powerful combo. I hate Magnet. I think Magnet is such a bad item on it. If he was Sash, he definitely 100% won his stream game in round 8. And if he... I don't think the Sash Venusaur is that valuable, but Life Orb, Evil Tall, Elky, and Landorus, which was such a strong combination for a lot of time in this format with Snow's team and then Z's team, and saying, why am I running Landorus? I can just run Groudon and do the same thing and not have to put a Zacian on the team. And I get to run a Venusaur instead or something, or other flex spots instead. Is like a reasonable way to build a team. Joe obviously did really well with it, and I do like the Evil Tall Elky ground type combo, but not getting a great showing in his stream game so far.
Yeah. And are they doing top 8 tomorrow? Is that how it works?
No, so the way it works is you have 9 rounds of Swiss Day 1, 5 rounds of Swiss Day 2, and then you cut to top 8, and top 8 and top 4 are played today. So we know the finals already. The finals will play tomorrow.
Sure.
And then what they do is like, because they have a full data fill, they go like juniors TCG finals, juniors or seniors, and then masters TCG finals, and then like Pokken finals, and then I guess they have Pokemon Go here, so they just like do
Yeah.
all the finals for all the events one at a time.
They got Pokemon Unite.
I don't know. I thought Pokemon Unite was all online until Worlds, but I might be wrong about that. You'd have to ask Kunal, or if someone in chat knows, sound off. Pokemon Unite would be fun to watch live. I don't know anything about it, but is
Well, what
this
game is this?
this is
What?
Pokemon Go?
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Pokemon Go is a competitive game now. It is so. I watched it. I think they showed off like the first competitive PvP match at Worlds 2019, something like that, or they had like a little invitational. And it's just like you actually got like got to block attacks. Like you can see this guy's like moving his finger to try to block all the attacks there. It's kind of cool.
Sick. Yeah, a couple of my friends are into it.
All right. As much as I would love to analyze Pokemon Go, I know nothing about it. Oh, this is just grand finals. So they're not. It looks like they're not doing a Pokemon Go finals on the Sunday, which is kind of a shame. I think that they really should just do all the finals on one day. They have the time, I think. Like I remember, let's find the start of this. I remember they did Tekken or Pokken finals on the Sunday of Worlds, and that was just an incredible match. I mean, I just remember the finals being crazy, and I know very little about Pokken. Okay,
This is Swordfish.
so it doesn't sound like there was a Unite at EUIC, so I think it's just going to be at Worlds, and that all the qualifiers are online. So Chalky running the like most boring variant of Swordfish that you can possibly run, which is fair. It like has done very consistently well throughout the format, and it's one of those teams just like Rainier Sun where you can master it and do very well. I think this is the same team that Pengi used. I know Chalky is friends with Pengi, so it might just be whatever Pengi also brought to UIC, which is probably very similar to his team from Liverpool. And then Wolf bringing the team that we saw Aaron use on stream. I think Wolf was also on stream in day one, so we've seen this team a couple times. We think it was no Wisp on Calyrex, the fast Miracle Seed Rillaboom to outspeed Groudon. Excuse me. And take that KO, which is pretty cool with Woodhammer. And I think we saw Life Orb Aleki, because Aaron was maxing the Aleki every game. So Max Aleki is, well, I guess you're the Swordfish expert, right? What do you think?
Of this position?
Or like, what do you think? How do you think Wolf approaches this matchup, and how do you think Chalky approaches this matchup?
So I never played with the Grim Snarl version of Swordfish, so I'm a bit out of my league here. Also, well, Pengi's team does AV Ogre, so AV Ogre is really good against the Calyrex. So I think it's just trying to manage the Rillaboom and the Aleki, and then let the AV Ogre carry the rest. Then I guess the tools to do that would be Zapdos for Rillaboom. I could see Chalky bringing his own Rillaboom just to deal with the Aleki and maybe benching a restricted.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing this lead, you could even bench the Ogre saying like, oh, well, if they're going to bring Aleki Rillaboom, then I could maybe try to bait that by not bringing my own Ogre.
Right. I mean, Rillaboom is so bad into all the other Pokemon on the team. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how like Screens, Grim Snarl plus Zapdos like matches up against Aleki in general. Like I'm just not familiar with that like board position, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Max Aleki is so reliant on having its terrain up, and Wolf not only has to manage his own Rillaboom, but also Chalky has the ability to switch in his Rillaboom. Potentially, it looks like he didn't bring it this game, because unless he dropped the Kyogre like you said. So that is, but like my first instinct if I'm using Wolf's team is I want to max Aleki in this matchup every single time. It just looks like it does so much against all the Pokemon.
Yeah.
And we'll see if Wolf just maxes like YOLO maxes or tries to play a little more passively. This does seem like a lead that I would want to just max into.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's pretty safe to just fake out Max Lightning the Grim Snarl and then go from there.
Yeah, there we go. There's the max Elky.
Because even, yeah, your Zapdos at +1 won't outspeed. So then, like, maybe you bring in Zacian and then, like, protect Zacian and get a second Airstream and then try to play the game from there.
Yeah, I mean, Zapdos has to be. I guess Zapdos probably lives a max lightning in electric terrain. It might not. And if you KO the Rillaboom, then there's another Pokemon that just gets to hit it too.
Yeah.
Okay. So just ignoring the Grimmsnarl, I don't know if I like that. Because if it has Scary Face, then you're actually in an awkward spot.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think the Zapdos can really do anything to the Lucky, but the Scary Face will let you. I guess you could, like, toss in a Lightning into the Zacian, Scary Face the Lucky, and then just hope one of your Pokemon die and let your own Zacian clean up.
right. Or I mean, or even just getting a light screen up is like still pretty valuable. It might not be enough because they're, but well, getting a light screen up means that their Caloric Shadow doesn't get to do damage to you. Your Aleki is damage mitigated to some extent. I don't know if that matters. There's no electric switch-ins. I think.
Yeah, I don't know if the light screen matters too much, actually, with the terrain up. Just really depends on what's in the back.
There's nothing that can take a electric type attack at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, like I would have much preferred a Scary Face instead of a light screen, I think.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Zacian lives up. I don't think the Zacian lives in Max Lightning. It might live in Max Lightning. But it's a Life Orb Max Lightning in terrain through light screen.
Yeah, does terrain just like cancel out the oh crit.
Terrain is
does
not
terrain
no. It is a 1.3x boost, I think. It used to be a 1.5x boost in Gen 7, and they nerfed it.
and how much is the light screen damage reduction?
It is 1.5. It's like it's like a +1 spin dash boost.
Sure.
But the crit might have mattered. But I mean, Life Orb Alki is a house. Like it reasonably could have taken the KO. Anyways, Wolf also could have reasonably just KO'd it with the Behemoth Blade as well.
I'm actually going to pull up the calc to see if it mattered. Kind of curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Wolf just did the thing that we looked at the team preview and said, yeah, Wolf's just going to max the Alaki and see what he can do. And Jockey just didn't have much counterplay there. So that's not a great look for Jockey's team. I'm sure that they must have some counterplay.
The crit did matter, even if it's a no bulkization, it would have mattered. And then I know this team, if it's the same as Pingy's team, it does run a bulkization.
Right. Well, if Wolf outspeeds, then he also just gets the Behemoth Blade off into it too.
Well, the Zapdos is fast, right? So the Zapdos airstreams, and then the Zacian should move before Wolfization. Is that right?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I guess he could. Yeah. Then he could have airstreamed and Behemoth Bladed the Zacian and taken the KO.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess that crit did matter, and the light screen was a fine play. I was thinking I'm not sure if the light screen would have helped. So I was like, oh, you could Scary Face kind of guarantee neuter, but seems like Chalky knows their calc's good, so the light screen made sense, and then just the crit was unfortunate. It's close. It's a close calc. It could do 98%. Yeah, that's still my big weak point, though. I really just don't have a good concept of how much screens affects the game.
Yeah, screens are 2x reduction in or they have damage in singles, but they do 1.5 times reduction or a 0.67 times multiplier in doubles. It's not 1.3 like John is suggesting in chat.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, it's also just like, yeah, I don't know, like I know, like, oh, what does Groudon take if it gets +1 spit F? I just don't know, like, oh, what does Zapdos take if it's +1 spit F? Like,
right.
or effectively with the light screen. Like, those are just not situations I encounter much.
So yeah, so here we see just denying screens. It makes sense to bring Rillaboom, but is Rillaboom doing anything here? Like,
Not with the electric terrain up.
right? Like, I don't know why he faked out the Elky, right? Like, no, he didn't. What did he do?
Uh, that pivot out Zapdos for Rillaboom, and then
Oh, so he just dropped the Zacian. I don't like that. I just think I just think Zapdos isn't doing anything here. I don't think it's actually doing that much as a max mon. It's just getting overpowered. I think that my game plan, if I was I think Wolf has already won. My game plan would have been just to max the Rillaboom because you're losing your train anyways, and this way, if you have Max Quake, you get to at least like maybe KO the Elky.
yeah, in my opinion, if you do decide to bench a restricted, you would bench the ogre, and then just with the idea of like, oh, I will just like minimize their Rillaboom and Aleki's effectiveness. Um, I like AV ogre into Aleki, but like it's not a consistent plan. I'll tell you that.
I mean, it took
Takes
the
about
attack.
that much.
That's something.
Yeah.
You
That's why I
might
usually like it with like Tailwind or something.
right. You either put speed control next to it, or you put like, or you just. I mean, if he maxed it without electric train up, it was also in a better spot. Although obviously, like there is a Rillaboom that also does stuff. So,
And then now it can't protect either.
yeah, this seems like it's pretty much a yeah. Okay, fair. Like you do have to switch it out there, but taking one turn of max just to like what KO's Zacian, it's not, and then live one attack with like 3 HP. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I feel good about me being a Rillaboom hater in general on Swordfish.
What do you
After
like
watching this,
over at Amoonguss or Kartana or Whimsicott?
Cart, Shedinja, um, just anything but Rillaboom. Amoonguss is probably fine.
Okay, so we did see the Reshiram team on stream that had a Gastrodon.
I watched that last night. Yeah. But,
Against the Shedinja. And they just decided that, and that was another team that was like, I don't need a grass move on this team. I'm just going to Shedinja. And I don't respect Gastrodon. And then they lost to Gastrodon timer stalling their Shedinja. So,
but that's only because they had recover, right?
Yeah.
And it's only because Shedinja had Shadow Sneak, no Poltergeist, because I'm pretty sure Poltergeist plus Darkest Lariat would have killed Gastrodon in a few spots there.
It would have, but also
Instead it had Will-O-Wisp.
yeah. Also, like if they as long as they were goggles, if they called a turn correctly with the Mimikyu, they could have also done it. And because they knew that it was Wisp without Poltergeist, they got to play a lot more conservatively with their Mimikyu. But they would still have to call the turn correctly, like call the ally switch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a hype end game actually.
I know. I was like, this is really cool, and then we had to watch the next 15 minutes, and I was like, yeah, actually, I enjoyed the lead up to it.
Yeah, after the instant died, you just could close out that game.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the next round of Swiss?
Yeah, so this is the last round of Swiss, round 14. I believe that both these players are on the bubble. So the winner makes it. Spoilers, they both make it. I know the result of this game based on who made top cut. But yeah.
This is the Reshiram player that beat the Shedinja, right?
Yeah. And then I like Marcus's team a lot. I think Marcus's team is very well built, so I might try to snipe that too.
So hard to see, the little icons are so small.
Yeah. What I will say is that they did change the icon for Calyrex from base form Calyrex to Calyrex Ice, so they got that going.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, when I was looking at Wolfie's team, I'm like, Oh, interesting, like Ice Riderization team.
Um, but yeah, okay. So Marcus, I think, just has an awful matchup. Just I think Evil Tall into Ice Rider is always awful. The fact that it's
Mhm.
a Reshiram and not a Palkia makes it even worse because the Zacian is even worse, and the Zacian is what you have to lean on. So I don't know what Marcus can really do. He doesn't have great like switch-ins to the Ice Rider once it gets in position. Um, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, this does look really bad. Reshiram doesn't learn Trick Room, right?
No, it does not.
Wait, this team looks sick, actually. The Reshiram team.
It's cool.
Because I like the idea of Palkia Ice Rider. It's just I don't really care for Palkia as a Pokemon.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Does Reshiram just solve everything?
Uh,
Goodization.
it is good into Zacian. I'll give you that. It's AV Reshiram apparently.
Oh, let's go. So that means it's good into Ogre and Calyrex Shadow.
I wouldn't say it's good into Ogre. It means it's bringable into Ogre.
But it takes neutral water damage. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you have an Amoonguss and you have a Gastrodon, so like, you have play into Ogre, right? Like the team clearly was built with the understanding that Ogre was in the metagame and you needed a lot of counterplay to it, and the Gastrodon is apparently soft sand, from what I heard. So just like you just saying you're maxing the Gastrodon and you're clicking Max Quake a bunch against it, which is what
Oh,
which is what you're doing with Palkia anyways, right? Like so it makes sense.
yeah. So Gastrodon is just a better Quake spammer than Palkia.
Not necessarily, but when you have Ice Rider Reshiram, you're like really daring your opponents to bring their grass types into you, right? So
Oh my god, that sucker punch did nothing.
it's a bulky Pokemon. Also, this is a special evil like AV Evil Tall, so it's like really
Yeah.
not. It's not like if it was Life Orb, it'd do a little more.
Oh, I was playing ladder the other day, and what did I max? I maxed a bulky Venusaur into Yveltal, and they they just
Hmm.
sucker punched and did over half. It turned out it was choice banded Yveltal.
Oh shit.
I won the game because when I realized that, I
Hmm.
abused that fact. It was really funny though.
I think that the line for Marcus has to be maxing the Incin. Maxing the Incin actually seems pretty good into this team.
So Calyrex +1 right now. Did it get
It's
into the
burnt. I think it's a +1. Yeah.
okay? Or well, did it get the KO with the lance? So that is back to
Oh, it
plus
did.
two.
Yep. Yep. You're right.
Calyrex is nuts. I think they call him the Max Ensign. Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be last turn, but
Does it even survive a high horsepower?
I don't think so.
Well, survives a lance for sure. Jeez, barely.
Yeah, it took like. I mean, it didn't take that much damage from it, but like it was already pretty low. Right, but now you've committed your Dynamax and lost a Pokemon, basically like two Pokemon, just to beat this one Ice Rider, and they still have a Reshiram.
Yeah, this restaurant about to clean up.
It's funny. The last game, Reshiram, they brought it against the Ogre team and did nothing, and they dropped it game two, and now it's just going to be the MVP. And maybe we get to actually see what it does. Maybe not. Maybe they just don't bring it in again. Maybe Q
Yeah,
Instant might just clean up as well, right? Maybe Q KOs the opposing Instant, Instant KOs the Zacian.
maybe it's like one of those situations. You ever play a tournament where you like you realize like I should just never bring this Pokemon to any match for the rest of the tournament. Maybe they did that with their restricted. Okay, no, here it is.
I mean, the Flare was
Rillaboom.
always going into that slot, right? Or the Rillaboom slot. Yeah, and they were just choosing which Pokemon they wanted to lose. And to be fair, they probably picked correctly. You probably want the Zacian.
Oh yeah, it's totally fair. I mean, if you have a Rillaboom against a Reshiram Ensign, like that
I,
Pokemon's literally just a sacrifice.
I don't know why they brought Rillaboom. I feel like I would rather have the Grimmsnarl. At least it like Rillaboom is not hitting the restricteds. It's not hitting the Instant or the Amoonguss. It's doing very little to the the Mimikyu. Maybe it hits the Gastron, but like, are they bringing Gastron into you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the Grimstar or Alecki, especially the Grimstar, I could see that it's better, but it's still not great. So maybe they're like, if the specific situation comes up, the Rillaboom will be useful, and then if not, I'll just sack it,
Mhm.
which I think is fine, honestly.
I don't know. I
Um,
think I'd rather just set up screens and try to stall out the first Trick Room, if possible.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. I think with Rillaboom or Grimstar, you would want to lead it, and then, but the Marcus didn't lead it, so yeah,
Hmm.
not. I mean, I don't know how to play Uveltalization, so like, I don't know, but
I mean, it's just awkward because you have like 2.5 bringable Pokemon in this matchup.
mhm.
Like, I don't even know if I'd call Yveltal. I mean, if they don't have Play Rough on Mimikyu, then it's actually not the worst Pokemon, but you still have to contend with this Calyrex Ice, and your best case scenario against it, if they set up Trick Room, which you can't really deny, is like just Sucker Punch it for 50, which isn't even that good.
Yeah, this is rough.
This is brutal. And so, I was talking about this yesterday a little bit. I don't know how resistance works for day two. Whether they drop all of your day one resistance and they just look at day two, or if they
Uh,
keep it all. Marcus started out day one 0-2 and then went 7-2. So he should have
so if they
awful resistance.
reset, unless they reset,
Unless they reset. At which point he's fine. Because I think he won out until round 13, which he lost. But I think they reset. I also think that's kind of silly. But I don't know.
yeah, I think a reset would be quite silly, but I've seen it happen before in Swiss tournaments.
I also think it's at least what I was told in before the pandemic, is that they just like the software they use to host tournaments just could not handle a 2 day Swiss very effectively,
Hmm.
and so they had to like basically make a second tournament, and that's why they reset it.
Yeah, yeah, that's when I've seen it happen in like um, not Magic, but just like other games. It's like yeah, it's usually just like a software thing. Like,
Mm-hmm. Uh,
it's the best way to work around.
but like TCG does this for every tournament, for every regional, and I know there's a new software that they introduced during the pandemic. So I would hope that that new software has this capability, but I guess they just didn't want to change it. They just like the way it works. Yeah, so day two, they
Yeah,
keep your record. I don't know if they keep your resistance. And that's relevant because the loser, there's one next four that will make top cut. And I don't know who it would be. I know who it would be because I know the result, but like I don't know. I can't imagine Marcus makes it if they don't reset resistance because he started out 0-2 and had an awful resistance in day one. So just breaking the Mimikyu's disguise. Um, I don't know. Did we see? I'm sure we saw which instant was slower, and it looks like it's a.
um,
Oh,
oh,
okay then.
one of those Incineroars.
That's pretty exciting. I mean, you do want the free switch into Calyrex, right? It's pretty reasonable.
I always lose to eject button and send on Trick Room. It might actually just be like the best item.
On this team, like, it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. On any Trick Room team.
But it looks like Alex not wanting to risk a dark move coming out into that slot, which is
Yeah,
exactly what
foul
Marcus
play.
was trying to do, trying to catch them switching in the Calyrex Ice.
Burn
Honestly,
reduces foul play damage, right?
it does, yeah. So like honestly, they would have gotten away with it too if they just
Yeah.
had switched out into Calyrex Ice.
Got a weakness policy proc also, yeah. There's the
Okay,
Grim Snarl.
yeah. There's a Grim, calling the switch out and getting that wisp off. I guess the Mimikyu just isn't doing anything else, and that's why you're going for it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So Shadow Sneak, Trick Room, Will-O-Wisp, and then probably like Taunt or something maybe.
mhm.
It's kind of why I like Play Rough with Mimikyu, just to be able to like put out more consistent damage after you're done with your Shadow Sneak shenanigans.
Right. I mean, I generally would agree, but the things that Play Rough are hitting are so weak to Calyrex Ice that you like kind of don't need it here.
Yeah, I just want to make my Yveltal Grimmsnarl matchup even better.
So I think Alex is just trying to play such that he gets a second Trick Room up, and
Yeah.
understanding that Marcus is playing very passively with that Grimmsnarl. And we just see Taunt as the fourth move. So like I haven't been counting Trick Room turns. Oh, one more turn. There it is, right on the bottom. So
You
now he gets
probably
that.
need to. This is a turn where you bring in Ice Rider, right?
Well, I think you parting shot off the Evil Tall, and you just make it so it doesn't do damage to Mimikyu, so you get Trick Room up again. Although Marcus did get the switch in and is maxing. Interesting.
Does it? I feel like this should KO the Mimikyu
Yeah, but
or make it not.
It never lived an attack from the Zacian.
Yeah, I think he's gonna try to cover for an Ice Rider coming in and like cover both Trick Rooms.
Yeah, I mean, now you just get to bring in your Reshiram, right? And they don't get to snarl it anymore.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, I guess this is just a situation where you bring in Reshiram and max it, not play with Trick Room for a bit because you still have Instant. So Instant comes in, hits the Zacian a bit. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm just curious how these Pokemon are going to survive this
Well,
next turn.
if you were losing a Pokemon, it's not even that bad. Or just don't lose a Pokemon. But this is now really bad because now
Yeah.
Marcus just gets to take 2 KOs. I really think that he was supposed to switch out into Calyrex Ice and say the Wisp Evil Tall is not doing enough to it, and you're just in this dominant position. If you just make that aggressive play instead of playing for a second Trick Room, I don't think you get to like. I understand why you do it, but like Marcus is too good a player to fall for that. I think. Although
This Mimikyu, no way it lives, though, right? Oh my god, it does.
Wow.
I guess Mimikyu does has a lot of special defense. I always forget that. But it was -1, too.
it was
huh?
-1, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I mean the Evil Tall was also at -1 special attack.
Oh, true. So, yeah. And then, oh, you know what, too, I bet? I bet that was a Max Darkness from a Snarl. Do you think a Dark Pulse would have KO'd?
I think that Marcus was supposed to Behemoth Blade it and hit it
Yeah.
and hit the Calyrex with their Evil Tall.
Yeah, true. I guess at that point you don't even need a Behemoth Blade the Calyrex.
Yeah, I mean if it maxes, then you're like in an awkward spot, but I think you're still in a winning spot. You just need to deny Trick Room and Max Darkness from off towards a -1 Spadef Calyrex probably KOs it because it's super effective.
Ooh,
If they don't max, and if they do max, they don't get Trick Room up.
No, it's up to Reshiram. That Zacian's taunted, though, so...
No, it took off the taunt.
Oh, okay, the taunt's over.
And I think that Instant has Fake Out Live now, right? So,
Yeah. But Alex still has Dynamax, right?
yes. So I guess the question is like, if the Reshiram maxes, can you power through the rest of the team? Like you can take KOs, but can you beat the Reshiram after you've taken other KOs? Although it doesn't max, so I guess that's like a moot point. What is Alex trying to max? What is he maxing?
Maybe it's a Max Instant.
right? But like that seemed like the turn you maxed the Reshiram.
Yeah. Alex knew he'd get parting shot though, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but now there's like a light screen coming off too.
Is fake out live actually? You might be able to deny that light
Oh, it,
screen.
it is. It is live. Yeah. No, Marcus is playing this really well. He is salvaging the matchup.
Yeah, for real. No, this is just a really good game, honestly. Break the Shuka.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we had like a stat of like how much did Will-O-Wisp do this game? Just slowly chipping away.
So once again, we are the last turn of Trick Room here. Uh, so Alex probably wants to get his Mimikyu back on the field here. So I imagine the line is parting shot with Incin and then switch your Reshiram back into the Incin, so it's gonna get into Trick Room without the Spidef drops.
Yeah.
Or it's just not going to get Trick Room up rather because the Mimikyu's at like 3 health, but at least you're forcing them to deal with it.
The Shadow Snake should finish off the Yveltal though, right?
Maybe it might also just be in burn range, so you might not want to.
Yeah, fair.
But you do need to get the Reshiram off the field before you Dynamax it, so you have to switch it out this turn. You don't really have a choice. Alex is Gilgamesh, who I think is top cut Players Cup, or at least been in contention. I forgot about Oblivion Wing. It will not KO this Evil Tall anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, actually,
yeah.
and I know he's cut Victory Road tournaments with Reshiram. He's like a Reshiram main.
Oh, nice. And he has 1 minute left.
Oh, that's true. Actually, we don't get to see the 3 minute warning, but if they're nearing the 3 minute warning, this also could be bad because Marcus might be able to timer stall.
The move animations don't eat into your personal time, though, right? They just eat into the overall game time.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, Alex kind of has to click buttons. He still has like a minute. That's like plenty of time, honestly. But you don't get to like spend your entire 45-second clock. I really wish they would show the overall timer.
Yeah.
Oh, it does pop up?
It just said 2 minutes, yeah, at the top.
Wait,
Hidden
sorry,
by
I
all
missed
the
it.
graphics. It just said 2 minutes, like during the Dynamax animation, I think.
I missed it. I'm gonna try one more time.
Okay, go before the Dynamax.
Here, yeah.
Pretty sure it flat. Maybe I'm.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
blocked by
that's
the logo.
Okay, can we see Reshiram Dynamax one more time? Actually, it looks sick.
Like Marcus's out might be timer stalling. I don't know if that's possible, but like, he has a minute 49 left. He can take 45 seconds on the switch in, right? He can take 45 seconds to think about his play. That's a minute and a half. This is reasonably the last turn of the game.
Oh man.
And if Marcus can somehow not lose a Pokemon this turn, he can win the game. I don't know how he does that. Yeah. He has to like switch out the Eviltal or use it to KO the Incineroar before the Incineroar gets to move, and then he still loses to the Reshiram.
Yeah, don't you just Quake into Incin and Flare Blitz into Yveltal?
Yeah, I mean it's a fake out, but it's not going to pick up the KO, and then now Alex gets to play the timer instead. And we actually see the timer run out at the very top here. So
So who's advantage? I guess Alex.
Alex has a mon up. No, he doesn't
Oh
have a
no,
mon up. He doesn't have a mon up, but he just has a Pokemon that's not at. Oh, actually, this might be close.
wait.
Zacian is at pretty high health.
How does Dynamax factor into the health calculation?
Dynamax does not count for you reset. Why are they getting to choose their move? I thought time ran out. I think it you don't get to play the turn. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, who wins?
Who won? You can just say
Oh, did they not show
it
it?
didn't show it.
I thought it blipped up for a second.
Marcus is pointing to himself like he won. Yeah, wow.
Okay.
Wow. That was sick. Marcus found his out. Alex, I think, played way too passively. I think Alex absolutely could have like won the game on turn 2 by switching the instant out into Calyrex Ice.
When I was talking about that Shadow Sneak to finish off the Yveltal too, that made a big difference, right?
Yeah. I mean, if that had KO'd, that would have been the difference in the game as well.
It should have. It was a 12 health. But then let the Oblivion Wing get off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a crazy game, though. That was a nice game.
Yeah. I just think Alex was not aware of timer. Honestly, he didn't realize that he was gonna get like he won that game. Obviously, if he
Yeah.
if he did get
That'd
timer
be
stalled.
me. I still don't know how the timer works. I'm just waiting to lose a camera match to timer, and then I'll be like, okay, I guess I'll learn how to play around this mechanic.
It's hard to play around timer because a lot of like it's you just like using your time to think, right? And it's a lot easier to play 2 timer, but it's really hard to like avoid. Once your opponent is in a situation where they can play a timer, there's like very little you can do. I feel like.
Yeah, I believe that. I still don't know how it works.
They're just like they're using all their clock on switch-ins. They're burning 45 seconds each time, plus the move animations and Dynamax animations. Like there's a world where Alex doesn't Dynamax and he wins the game because he doesn't Dynamax and burn that time. That's not true. It's still the same number of turns that would have happened, but yeah, I mean the timer end game is who has the most Pokemon remaining, and then if you have the equal number of Pokemon, it is percentage of overall HP remaining. So you have 4 Pokemon, it sums up the total HP from all those Pokemon that they could possibly have, and then the amount of Pokemon that you have, the HP and the Pokemon that you have remaining, and it's just that raw percentage is the difference.
The Grimmsnarl definitely worked out way better than the Rillaboom.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Marcus played out of his mind that game. I think he made one misplay in not denying Trick Room when he had the chance to, but other than that, played really well. And I think Alex played poorly. I think he just had ways to win the game and played very passively when he didn't have to.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like you could be overly passive with Trick Room in general.
Mm-hmm.
But you're spinning your whole team to set this thing up. You got to bring in the big hitters.
Okay, so just fake out Trick Room, as one expects. I don't know why there was a fake out. It didn't have to be a fake out into Zacian. Right? Like, Behemoth Blade Max Darkness is not killing Mimikyu.
Mm-hmm.
You could have parting shotted and been in an actually phenomenal position.
Do we actually know many of the Zacian's moves besides Protect Behemoth Blade? Like, if it's Substitute, that might actually be an issue.
If you parting shot the Zacian, it's at -1.
Is that a crit? Oh my god. Incineroar is strong.
Yeah, Instin's a good Pokemon. I also okay, that was great, but given
So
that
Ice Rider should just come in and just go to town, right?
I would think so. Like, obviously, Marcus can still switch the Instant in, switch the Zacian in, and do some damage mitigation to it, but like I don't think it's enough. It's still like really scary.
Well, I feel that Glacial Lance is either going to pick up a KO on Grim or Yveltal. So unless they double switch, and
They
then,
double switch, right?
but even then, I mean, you're still going to get bruised, and then
Right.
I guess then you have to like play like you could max Quake into one of them, and then just hope they don't bring in Yveltal on the slot you call.
I do like that Alex has been prioritizing burning the Evil Tall. I think that he identified that that's one of the few ways Marcus can deal with the Ice Rider is foul playing it.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point.
But I do think it's going to be no, it's not a double switch because he left the Grossar on the field.
Yeah, I just let it rip. I Shadow Sneak.
That's fair. Reflect is good. I mean, Reflect is trading with the +1 boost they're going to get, and then you're going to get the Zacian in next turn without taking damage, which is probably important.
Should KO the Grim, right? +1.
Surely, yeah.
All right. Now, if I'm Alex, I'm max quaking something. So which is it? What are you max quaking?
If I'm Marcus, I am raw maxing the Incineroar right now.
Oh, okay.
That's the play. You got to get rid of this Calyrex as soon as possible. You can stall out this Reshiram. We saw him do it once. Nope.
High horsepower. Wow.
Trading KOs, I guess. Like,
suppose so, but even then, it isn't the Zacian going to get Will-O-Wisp? Nope.
ooh.
Never mind.
I also just like, yeah, I guess that's fair because if you're wisping it, you probably live in attack and you don't have to care too much. But even then, like, first he's still in a good spot. He just guessed to click Glacial Lance Wisp again.
Yeah. But you can't Wisp through sub, right? Oh, the Wisp
Glacial Lance goes first, and I think it breaks. He does have Reflect Up, but this is a +2 Calyrex.
Yeah. Or is it +3? No, it's +3. It got 2 KOs.
It's +2. It got intimidated once. Oh, it did take a second KO. Yeah.
From Grim Day is crazy.
Oh. Why? Just to take the Sucker Punch better?
Is there like a Steel Spike or something? Or... Interesting. Wait, isn't this like...
I think that's just worse than clicking Glacial Lance.
Oh, wait, no, this is sick. Because now Marcus can't Dynamax.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
It's actually kind of funny.
No, it doesn't matter that he can't Dynamax. Glacial Lance was killing anyways. You think Glacial Lance wasn't killing a max Eviltal?
I don't know. Wait, Reflect Up? I think he's just like, this is a way that I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, he's in such a good position.
Like, it was probably KOing the Eviltal, but it might have not, you know. Could have been Bright Powder Eviltal.
If Marcus had won, then Wolf might have made top cut because Alex's resistance was bad. Yeah, I believe that. It's just like Marcus was never winning this. He had to play out of his mind, and his opponent had to play somewhat poorly for him to win game 2. And I think that this matchup is just an awful, awful matchup for Marcus. So, and Marcus top cut anyway, so like, it didn't matter.
Dang.
That game 2 is sick.
Actually, it's so impressive Marcus won that game too. How much that sneak does. Ooh, big chip. So that was the last Swiss round.
So that was the last round of Swiss. Hey, John. Welcome to the stream.
Hello.
So
we just saw Marcus lose to the Reshiram Calyrex Ice player, Gilgamesh.
Yes, I've seen all of Top Cut actually.
Okay.
No, I didn't see Joe's set. I didn't see the beginning of. The first set of top 4.
Okay. We'll get there.
Top 8, I think.
Well, so apparently only half of top 8 was streamed, so that's a little disappointing. But let's see if they show the bracket.
second set.
Is
Yeah,
there
so
a
the
graphic with all the
I can
teams?
tell you what the bracket is.
I mean, hopefully they
I'd
show
rather
it on
look
stream.
at it.
Yeah.
Uh, this is
Uh,
Joe versus. Well, I'm sure they. Do they
so
not?
there's Rio Passer versus Marcus. That's seed 1 and 8. Seed 2 is Torviv. Seed 7 is Alex de Pasqua.
I think I'm gonna find it on Victor Road, so just like everyone on stream can see it too.
Yeah.
It's
I
easier with
think
the teams.
O should be seed. O is either O is oh yeah, Casti is seed 3, and O is seed 7. O is seed 6. So it's Casti versus O. Winner faces Torviv versus Alex, and Marcus versus Rio Passer. Winner faces uh, Javier
Yeah,
versus
so
Junior.
I can put the graphic on stream. However, it does not have teams, sadly.
Yeah, I can
but,
tell you what the teams are.
Well, so I'm pretty familiar with the teams. Eric Rios is running the Rinya Sun, as we know. Marcus was just on stream with the Evil Zacian team. Joe is running Evil Dawn. Javier is running the Dialga Zacian team. Victor is running the Dual Weather team. Sun Rain, that's right. Alex is, of course, running the Reshiram team, the Calyx Rice team. Casti is running Lunadon, and Oe was running Torn Ogre. So those are the teams that we're looking at, and it sounds like we're going to see the first match is Joe versus Javier. So that matchup is going to be really fun.
I haven't actually seen that.
I'm really excited for this. We were talking up the Javier team quite a bit yesterday, and then Alex and I playtested it a little bit, and it kind of sucked. It did not actually do enough. Was the disappointing part. And so
yeah, my feeling is that Nemesis just runs really weird teams, and I don't understand why he wins, but he does.
No, it made sense theoretically, in that Zacian Dialga was really, really good for about 2 weeks, and then everyone realized that Otto lost his Sun. And instead of trying to build that team such that it beats Sun, everyone gave up on it, which is somewhat fair. Javier did not, apparently. He said, what if I put 2 Pokemon on the team that just auto win against Renia Sun? Because every Sun team looks the exact same. And so he put Weezing Blastoise, which arguably, if you could pick any 2 non-restricted to beat Sun, that might be the 2 that you pick. And we saw against Eric Rios that it was it is good, but then the follow-up just isn't there because all of your Pokemon are weak to ground. And so you just lose the Groudon and Zacian. You don't have great ways to KO Zacian.
To be fair to Nemesis, no one else has done well with Rinya Sun in this tournament except for Rio Passer.
Right. There is no shame in losing to the player who is maybe just playing better than anyone else in the world right now.
Yeah, and I mean, you showed the graphic. He has a chance to win this tournament, and he lost. He's lost 2 sets. One of which was after he was already locked for top cut, and the other was literally the first one. So he went 12-2, starting out 0-1, then going undefeated. He is absolutely insane. So I'm not sure that losing to someone who is insane with Rinya Sun makes your team necessarily have a bad matchup.
Right.
It just means that you lost to Eric.
Yes. Now, notably, I thought that the Dialga team, right? Dialga is inherently very weak to Sun. Dialga Zacian specifically, and he tacked his team to beat Rinya Sun, and I think he said that was the Sun team that he expected to face. So he didn't say that, but that's the way I see this team building. His team building going. Joe is running a different Sun team. He's running Evil Dawn. This team looks like it has no Evil Tall matchup. I don't know what it's doing into Evil Tall other than Zacianing through it, which loses to the rest of the team.
Yeah.
What was Victor Medina on?
Sun Kyogre, Tornadus, Venusaur, Torkoal, Insensation.
Okay, so Swordfish with Torkoal.
Sun Rain with Zacian.
Call it what you want. It
I'm
was
just trying to write down all the restricted pairs. What was
Yeah, it's swordfish with Torkoal and Venus.
Yeah, I got that.
it,
What was Oliver on?
Swordfish. I
just like
wrote
standard.
this out in somewhere else. Stream spectating, I think.
Mhm.
Oh, that
Um,
is a dead Blastoise.
yeah, it's. I don't think we saw it was Life Orb. It wasn't allowed to max in front of the
What did he
Alki,
take out? He
but
faked out the
he faked out the
the
Alki
ah
because the Venusaur went down to Sash. Um,
yeah.
that was a. I guess that was. He doubled. Did he not know Javier's sets, or was he covering for something?
No, I expect he thought that Blastoise was maxing and it wouldn't die. Also, he might not have known it wasn't Assault Vest.
Right.
Like
I mean, if he thought it was Assault Vest, go ahead.
if I look at this team, I assume that Dialga's Life Orb Blastoise is Assault Vest.
Right. Um, and that would be my assumption too. Again, we play tested a little bit, and we saw that Blastoise needs to be Life Orb to get the KOs against Rainier Sun. But
Mm.
Javier has been on stream twice. You would think that Joe would have talked to someone before the match and caught onto it. The Leaf Storm, I think he probably could have figured out he didn't need it. But I guess he didn't have a ton of other great things to do with the Venusaur. But also
Does
just like switch
Venusaur
it
not
out then.
have Sleep Powder?
Well, he clicked Max Lightning.
Ah, true. Casti was playing Lunadon. He could have Earth Powered, maybe.
If he has Earth Power, he could have Earth Powered. I think this is Sash Venu because the Alki is Magnet. So I don't know what the one coverage move.
We know it's Sash Venu.
Oh, we also saw the Sash, yes.
Yeah, I don't hate the idea from Nemesis of like baiting the Alecki Max and then saying, "Look, I have a Dialga. What are you gonna do?"
It's also interesting that Joe either didn't bring Groudon or didn't bring Eviltal. I think both of those Pokemon are really good.
Yeah, I guess I would expect him to not have brought Eviltal if I didn't bring anything, because Groudon's way too good. You can't not bring Groudon in this matchup.
Right.
And I guess he thought
And
Alecki was just too good.
that's. I guess he was really scared of Blastoise. Um, but the Eviltal is Life Orb, so it actually doesn't have like Snarl, for example, that might be really good here. But I still think it's quite good. Even as a Dynamax, it's like doing a lot.
P2 is also pretty good, and so we
We
wanted
didn't
the
bring P2
Venusaur
either.
Sleep Powder. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
you mean
I'm just
Javier's
saying
P2?
like Javier's P2 is potentially scary.
Mhm.
And so Joe wanted to bring Venusaur for Sleep Powder, I guess. But uh yeah, I'm not sure I'm entirely on board with the way he's line this up. I'm not 100%. Joe's Yveltal is Assault Vest. No, it's Life Orb.
No,
Joe's
it's Life Orb.
Yveltal's Life. Yeah. So it's not Snarl. So it actually might not be that great here, right? Because you're expecting to fight into Blastoise Dialgazation, right?
I mean, my thought is I think it's still a very good Dynamax into this team.
Mm.
And so I think I would prefer to Dynamax it into the Dialga where you're like doing 70 with the Max Darkness. Even if it Dynamaxes,
I feel like I would prefer to be maxing. I mean, the thing that I really want to max is Groudon, right?
You can, but yeah, I guess you can. It's a little awkward into Blastoise, into Weezing at times, to chuck a Weezing.
True.
Into the mods they brought, yeah, Groudon is a profitable Dynamax for sure. Yeah, it doesn't do enough into P2. They can just kind of soak it
This
up.
looks awkward as hell.
Yeah,
Does Joe have? Oh no, he has Heat Crash.
is Heat Crush.
Is Groudon Assault Vest?
I think so.
Because I know
We
he's
have.
had Swords Dance on a similar team.
I don't think we've seen anything that indicates it's not Assault Vest.
Yeah,
But Joe has gotten
that died.
curb stomped in both of his stream games. So, and that's definitely Assault Vest damage.
That's Assault Vest. Yeah. I mean, it was -1, but still. Um. mean, you can fake out the Zacian in Blades, but I feel like that's just bad.
The Dialga does not have Protect, and that has been revealed on stream.
Yeah, but also it just used Roar of Time.
Does that mean you don't take the KO on it? I mean, I guess you take the KO on it anyways, but
What do you
faking
mean
out the
take the KO?
Zacian.
It doesn't die.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Um,
It doesn't. It doesn't die.
yeah, but like, does that mean you don't fake out the Zacian? I guess this way he's
Um.
got the fake out on the
So
live this
so
turn.
it was just a read.
Mhm.
It was literally just a read because Behemoth played one shot the Groudon.
So why would Javier not target the Groudon?
Um. Yeah, probably just a throw then.
Like right, like Javier. Why did Javier target the Insect? Is I guess the next question because like I don't know
Yeah. Wait.
what
No.
that accomplishes.
That's definitely a weird question. Can we go back
Yeah,
a little bit?
Is Sun up?
Because that just doesn't make any sense to me.
right. So this is the
Actually,
play. The Dialga doesn't get to move. The Zacian has Protect Live, I believe.
the Zacian just switched it.
Yeah, so it has Protect Live. Uh, there's like the Dialga lives a Precipice Blades, and so wait, this is the wrong turn.
Did the Instant just switch in?
This is the wrong turn. Yeah, the Instant did just switch in. I
So
think.
Instant and Zacian switched in at the same time.
Hold up, maybe not.
No,
No, he
it
did. He
didn't.
did. He did.
Okay, so
It
Zacian
did.
was +1.
Yeah, the Zacian is boosted. So the Instant comes in. Um, so it does have Fake Out
Yeah, this
Live.
literally makes no sense to me. Isn't that just a guaranteed win?
If he targets if he targets the Groudon,
Yeah.
the Groudon could switch out into Venusaur. Um,
And then the Instant kills itself.
and the Instant does it kill itself? It's at 60.
It's at 60.
The
So
Zacian's
and
at
Blitz is 1/3. Zacian's at
so it does not.
146. So it doesn't.
It doesn't. No way
Um.
Javier could know that, but also like
Yeah.
uh,
But you can have a sense that it won't kill itself.
yeah. I mean,
Like
okay,
like
so
like you could look at the Instant's HP bar and be like, oh, Instant has X%. That's roughly Y, which is more than 50.
that's well when you're trying to figure out the play, that's really hard to figure out
Yeah.
while you're also like trying to get through
Yeah.
all of the options.
But,
And the options
so
for
so
Javier are protect Zacian, attack the Instant, or attack the Groudon, right?
yeah.
And if you attack the Instant and they Precipice Blades, then they get to go Venu, they get to go Sleep Powder or something, and Precipice Blades takes a KO takes 2 KOs if they Sleep Powder the Zacian, right? I don't think the Dialga KOs the Groudon.
So you're saying if you protect. So you're saying if you protect, then Venusaur comes in and gets to click Sleep Powder.
If you no, if you protect Zacian, then the Venusaur doesn't get to come in unless it hard switches.
Well,
If you protect and there's a hard switch, you lose the game. I think. But
no, I don't think you do.
if you protect Zacian and the instant hard switches to Venu,
Yeah.
um,
Like you lose if they hit Sleep Powder after that.
no, they if they have Earth Power, they just Earth Power the Dialga, and they win.
Does Blades plus Earth Power KO Dialga? It's a Assault Vest, right?
I don't know if it's Assault Vest. I don't know what the
Didn't we
item
say it was
is.
Assault Vest? It has no
We
protect. Oh no, does it have Trick Room?
it does not. It has 4 attacks, but I think we calced some attacks last game from day one, and we saw that it was not Assault Vest. Donald, you were in call, right?
No.
Okay. Maybe it was Arcel. It was Arcel was who was doing the calcs. But we thought that it wasn't Assault Vest based on the damage rolls from Max Lunala. So I'm basing this on the fact that it's not Assault Vest. That it's like Adamant Orb or something.
Okay. So if you protect the okay, if you protect the Zacian and the Dialga is at neutral defense, and okay, if you protect the Zacian, go Venusaur, and Blades plus Earth Power um KOs Dialga, then yeah, you do lose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so
if you attack the Ensign, I feel like attacking the Ensign always loses then if Blades plus Earth
Earth,
Power KOs Dialga, right?
um, what's okay? What's wrong with attacking the V? If you're going to attack, what's wrong with attacking the Groudon? Is my question. If they switch out
Yeah,
into
so
Venusaur,
if you attack the Groudon, um if you attack the Groudon, they can switch Groudon to Venusaur and Flare Blitz,
and then you lose. Yeah.
and then you lose. Um
Okay.
yeah.
This is just a complicated game state. He just had to kind of call the play.
Yeah, okay. It is just a call. And that's fine. Attacking the
So
Groudon um loses to Flare Blitz stay in as well. Yeah,
yes, yeah, yeah.
attacking the instant beats Flare Blitz.
Hmm.
Um does it beat Flare Blitz?
Yeah, I think so.
No. It beats Flare Blitz switch, but not Flare Blitz stay in.
Uh,
Because Venusaur is faster.
yeah, but Venusaur only gets one attack off.
And Venusaur kills the Dialga, is what we were saying. And
Um,
then your Zacian kills the Groudon, and then you protect, and then you kill the Venusaur. Yeah. Yep. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, so attacking the Ensign is entirely reasonable. It is quite a complicated board state.
yeah, I mean, yeah. It's also we had 3 minutes to figure this out or 5 minutes to figure this out, and we couldn't figure out the best play. So it's no shame in getting it wrong in 45 seconds, even if there was no, even if it was wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to game two. Um, what do we think the
The mix
adjustment
of it
is?
from Javier.
Yeah,
Um,
or from Joe. Like that was a pretty close game. They both could do the same thing, but I don't think either of them do.
I don't want to bring Weezing. I don't. I think I'd like to see Javier bring um P2 instead of Rillaboom. Rillaboom seemed kind of useless.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, and so I think you can. Um, I don't know. What would I go? P2. You could lead P2 Zacian. I think that would work out pretty well in some positions.
It's a little vulnerable to potentially Max Eliki again, potentially Max Venusaur, or just Sleep Powder.
You lead P2. You can lead P2 Blastoise.
That's
Yeah,
really weak to Max Eliki, I guess. Maybe
yeah,
not,
that's fine. Because maxing Alecki is bad
because you get Trick 'em Up. Yeah,
because you
that's
get
fair.
Trick 'em Up. Um,
I like that Joe is bringing Evil Tall. I think that's like this seems really good for Joe.
Mm.
Right. Initial reaction is that Evil Tall kind of gets to do it at once here.
Behemoth
Or
Blade doesn't one shot Evil Tall, right?
No.
Of course not. No, of course not. No, there's no way it would. Um, I don't think Evil Tall gets to do what it wants.
I don't think Evil Tall gets to
Okay.
max,
Oh,
but
what? Helping Hand.
yeah.
Um,
But you just kind of
did
like
not.
say that you can't KO both. Ooh, oh, it's a crit.
Cool. Next.
My line was
Uh,
you say you can't KO both, and then you max the one that they don't KO because they're both like very good maxes here. The crit's really important though. Yeah, but like so.
Should this end the game?
Okay, so what I do want to say is that if it didn't crit, right? Let's say Javier takes the KO on the Evil Tall. The next turn is just an Electro Web takes 2 KOs, right? Which is a really good spot for Joe, anyways. So I think that Joe is fine.
It might even be better for Joe.
Like I think Joe was in a like obviously Javier should be upset about the crit, but I think that was a really smart play from Joe.
Yes, that was good.
And then he still has a very viable Dynamax in the Alki, even if the Evil Tall goes down. Or the Groudon, like you said in game 1. But yeah, now he just gets to Dynamax the Evil Tall freely, which I think is so good into Dialga. I think you're doing straight up like 70% to this Dialga that's Dynamaxing.
And you just Thunderbolt the Blastoise slot.
Just take the KO. It doesn't have Protect. It showed Helping Hand.
Yeah.
And I don't think it has Blizzard either, but we'll see.
I don't like the Electro up here.
I think you're giving yourself like a 5% chance to lose the game when you didn't need to.
5% chance to be worse than you needed to be. I'm not sure you even lose the game if you miss. Oh, Javier went with the Rillaboom as well. Maybe the P2 doesn't have Ice Beam or something?
I think it's Foul Play Eerie Impulse.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Because if it's Foul Play Eerie Impulse, you just don't do anything with P2. And Joe can let Trick Room go up, I think, because Groudon's like so good into it.
You're allowed
Sufficiently good
to
into it.
you're allowed to not do anything with your P2 provided you are like waste if you can force Joe to Dynamax, then set up Trick Room or Eerie Impulse, then you're in a good
but
spot.
I don't think that. Yeah, but with the lines that I was thinking of, with the lines that would make sense into Joe's team, there's not room for it.
Yeah. Okay. So this game is over.
Cool.
But yeah, I think Joe played that game too really well. Just made the right adjustment. And honestly, Elky Eviltal is the most oppressive lead that team can bust out. So I'm not like it's something that I think he had to cover for, and he really didn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Nemesis is supposed to do though, because his team is just like fundamentally flawed. And like
His
it's
team
a
is
meta call.
yeah.
It's a meta call, and you're allowed to bring a meta call to a tournament. And he does consistently, but like I think Nemesis's teams are consistently calls that, and sometimes the flaws catch up to you.
Yeah, I just don't think that team was built with Evil Dawn in mind, and you know, it did not look like it had a great matchup. He almost took A1, which is a credit to his play. Okay, I'm just gonna start here because this is the first turn of the game. So we have the Reshiram team, which you've seen a couple times on stream already, versus the Dual Weather. And so, as the Dual Weather master, what do you think of this matchup? How do you approach it?
So I actually, um, got approached for a little bit of help with this matchup, and I thought through some of the lines. My understanding is that Mimikyu is Goggles and the Instant is Eject Button.
Yes.
So it's actually a little bit awkward, but the main thing you're trying to think of doing here is you want to just stall out the Trick Room. You want to just play the game, and you want to make sure that as long as your opponent doesn't get to pop off and destroy you with a +2 Calyrex, you will just win the game. So you want to play slowly. With this lead, you're probably trying to like Sleep Powder the Incineroar slot, and then you're trying to keep your opponent pinned down with Sleep Powder until you stall, and like make sure that you've broken Mimikyu's Sash by the time Trick Room ends. and then you break Mimikyu's disguise, and then you click Water Spout, and the game ends.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know if like they don't get to bring Gastrodon, right? It's just like it's hard for them to.
They can. They can bring Gastrodon. Because Reshiram kind of sucks here. Reshiram.
Oh, that's fair.
It doesn't suck, but like they do get to bring Gastrodon, right? Because there are lines where lead Kyogre, and your opponent can lead Instant, and then switch into Gastrodon.
Sure.
Like take out Trick Room and then turn 2 Gastrodon comes in. And or like you can or you want to prepare yourself for, let's say your Instant's like slower. You want to prepare yourself for you get faked out and water spouted on. You want to be able to like go into Gastrodon, because if you go into Reshiram and you don't die, the Reshiram's like Assault Vest, right? If you go into Reshiram and you don't die, the game just kind of ends because the second Water Spout goes off, Mimikyu dies, and you just don't have any gameplay.
Right.
So
sure.
Gastrodon is like Gastrodon is a respectable bring.
And you need to end game the Zacian as well, which I guess it does do pretty effectively. So that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe you drop Reshiram. Well, I guess the key for this is still Victor just stalling out the Trick Room, not losing to that dominant Calyrex Ice mode that.
Yeah. You need to not lose in the first 5 turns of the game, and then you win.
Yeah. And we saw Marcus do that really well in Game 2, even though he had a really awful matchup. This matchup does not seem nearly as bad for Victor, so. Yeah, we'll see. I did like the Sleep Powder.
That Sleep Powder miss sucks.
I like the Sleep Powder play, right? Just the Instant staying on the field is really valuable for you. But
yeah,
unfortunate miss.
Because after that, then it's a sleep, right? But the miss is not great.
Yeah.
I happen to know that Victor's Instant is Taunt, so I think the play that turn was Taunt the Mimikyu and Sleep Powder. And so you force your opponent, and so you can potentially learn things about speed tiers and like force your opponent to do weird things. Okay.
And so now the thing is like, Alex's team does nothing from this position, right? The Instant is not a damage dealer in the rain. The Mimikyu, it has Shadow Sneak Will-O-Wisp, and like its best move was actually just to Will-O-Wisp the Kyogre and get chip damage onto it. So Victor's in a really good position to stall out.
Well, so the best move on this next turn, I think the Mimikyu has Taunt.
It does.
So the best move is to Taunt the Venusaur.
Yes.
And so Victor probably wants to switch Venusaur out and like Ice Beam the Mimikyu or something.
Sure.
That's what I would be looking at.
But I do think Victor is in a good spot as far as stalling out that Trick Room goes. There isn't a great way for these Pokemon to do damage, although we might see a switch out into Gastrodon if he has it.
Oh, into Zacian. Okay, I like the Zacian switch-in. Zacian switch-in is a little spooky.
It's a little risky, right? You could get wisped, but
I guess, yeah.
It's reading it to Taunt.
I guess Calyrex Ice never comes in here.
It can't take the Water Spout here. It would have to be the Gastrodon or the Reshiram. We just see Gastro.
Water Spouting is so risky, though. Because if you Water Spout and your opponent, like,
goes Gastro.
No, just like sacks the cat.
Then there's 2 turns of Trick Room left. It's not, and if they want to get the weakness policy boost, you can still max the Ogre and do a lot of damage. And you have an Instant in back. It's not the worst. It's not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you don't want to give Gastro the boost because it's soft sand and Max Quake is actually doing a lot to your team.
Okay. Okay, and, so Instant switch-in on the Zacian slot.
And getting that Intimidate is really nice. It is, I think, Shucka Instant. Obviously, it doesn't matter with the Calyrex Ice on field.
True.
But yeah, this is where like if that Gastrodon had a boost, it would have taken that KO, for example. Actually, that might have been better, right? The Calyrex Ice still gets to attack now. Oh no, it just switched in. Never mind. Yeah, like this is a position where if that instant went down, it was in a really awkward spot because of the pin that you have.
Yeah.
And there's one turn of Trick Room left, so I guess you have to pivot the Venusaur back in somehow. Does Victor have Protect on Venusaur?
I don't.
I
Think
can't imagine he does. Right? He saw Sleep Powder.
He has.
It
He has
has to be
Weather
Weather Ball. Yeah.
Ball. It is. It is in fact Weather Ball. Not gonna lie, kind of looking at this side Ice Beam.
Just to take the KO on the. Yeah, I mean that would have done more than the Gastrodon damage, right? And getting the Venusaur in this turn would have been really nice.
Well, but the Instant does have Taunt, and I think it's faster than the Gastrodon and the Calyrex.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay.
Do you win the 2v4? You have your max Venusaur, but there's like interesting. This is fair. This is fair because they're taking 2 KOs still.
I guess he's trying to fake out
And-
instead of Tricker.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
he's trying
wait,
to fake
but
out
that
step
won't
trigger.
work because the Instant's Taunt. I guess he just doesn't know. Oh, he's getting buttoned?
Well, he does get buttoned there. But why? Yeah, that's not actually a very good thing for him.
Yeah, no, I don't understand this. Surely just Max Quake would be really good. I guess
Max
he just
Quake
doesn't know the
does-
instant. No, he just doesn't know the instant. That's just what it has to be.
I think that must have been it. Yeah, I mean you just
There's
take
no
that
way.
KO.
There's no way you go for that if you know.
So
Now you
here comes
just,
Sashin.
Behemoth Blade the Mimikyu, and you parting shot the Calyrex.
I think that does Cali Ice KO the Venusaur? It might. So you might not be able to.
I think we still don't know the instant Mimikyu speed tier. Actually, terrible.
He could also Shadow Sneak the instant to prevent that from going off, but
To prevent what from going off?
the parting shot just he would take the KO.
Oh, true.
Which isn't necessarily
No, but
that much better.
No. If you kill the instant, that doesn't matter.
Right. I don't think it actually helps him that much, but it's better than the instant not being there and getting the free switch. Right.
Yeah. I mean, if the instant like you had to, I think if he went for the Glacial Lance here, he might have won.
I mean, it would have been high horsepower.
No.
Oh yeah, no, it would have been Glacial Lance.
He would
Yeah,
have gone for Glacial Lance.
that's fair. Yeah. Reading the parting shot. The -2
Yeah.
Glacial Lance might not have gotten there anyways, but
Was it -2?
it got intimidated and parting shotted.
Did it get intimidated?
Yes.
Okay. Then yeah, I don't think it gets there, but closer, right?
Yeah. I mean, now
I guess
it's
just
fake out
you
Tricker.
can fake out Trick Room, yeah.
And I don't know if the Calyrex lives in attack from Max Venusaur or otherwise it just gets sleep powdered. I hope that Victor knows his calcs.
Yeah, because I don't. I mean, you just go for Vine Lash, right? You just have to.
Yeah,
you
well,
just
Vine Lash
go-
surely gets there after like a couple turns.
Yeah, well, yeah, after a couple turns. I'm just saying you definitely attack. Do you double it? Probably. Yeah, because there's no way Sacred. Yeah, I think.
I mean, now
I think
Behemoth Blade
Alex is
certainly
just,
KOs.
I think Alex is just refusing to this game.
I don't like. Yeah, I think he messed up a couple times. He should have. He had chances to KO the Ensign. He had chances to.
I guess Trickerming. No, there's no way Trickerming works, right?
I
Trickerming
guess
with
not.
Mimikyu never works. Does neutral high horsepower one shot Zacian?
I don't know off the top of my head. I think no, unless you have. I think no, unless it's like no bulk. Maybe no bulk dies, but I don't think it does. It's like it's at max HP. Like it's. I think it's living at highest power.
Okay. Because he could have gone for side shadow sneak high, right? That was an option. I just think like I don't know. I just was not a fan of the way the last few turns went.
He was banking on getting a second trick room up and didn't realize that that was just not going to happen, and he had to win without it.
Well, no, but he could have, right? If he lives the Vine Lash.
Yeah, I guess that's yep.
And
I
so
don't
he
I
could
don't know
have
what the
gone
calc's
for
off the top of my
take
head
out,
either,
take out Trick Room.
and
I don't know.
that might have
It's a
gotten in there.
Caluret's Ice, right? Like it's.
It's a bulky Pokemon, yeah. Well, he had to go fake out Trick Room and then also live a turn of residual for that to matter.
Um. No.
Gas
He didn't necessarily have to live. Oh, because Gastrodon comes in
Gastrodon comes in and just dies.
and just
And
dies.
then
Yeah.
he needed the Calyrex. I think he might have had to live 2 turns because Victor could max guard as well pretty
No,
safely.
okay, yeah, no. So it seems like it was probably just one anyway. Okay.
Yeah, I mean I think that the taunt turn really put him ahead. Like the mid game was where Victor took his advantage.
Mm. Yeah, the taunt turn put him massively far ahead. Also, yeah, which was the switching out of Gastrodon turn.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the
Yep.
same turn?
It was switch out to Gastrodon into Incin, get Ice Beamed, eject button procs, and that just like none of that needed to happen. The Incin could have gone down that turn, and then at least like if the Incin goes down, you might be able to get a second Trick Room up. It was like he wanted to reposition so that he had an Incin fake out, but didn't realize that the Ice Beam was going into that slot. He didn't necessarily had to get Ice Beam that turn, but the eject button actually like messed him up that game. Because if he had the instant fake out live, then maybe he gets a second Trick Room up. The yeah yeah
Game is hard.
yeah. I don't think that there was
in fact, a little tricky.
I don't think there was like a solution at any point. Like I don't think anyone had safe plays. It's just like until the end game, Victor could make some safe plays. But
Yeah.
they had to play Pokemon, and I still think
and
Alex was supposed to
think
not do that play.
I think Alex had some more aggressive lines that he was supposed to take, but it's also really hard to make like very aggressive lines when you think you might be able to get there anyway.
Right. That was like maybe that's just like a flaw. We saw that in his match against Marcus. We thought that he played very passively and then lost on timer when he otherwise probably would have won. But if he had played more aggressively, he might have won the game anyways.
This is an interesting switch up from Victor. I think the play here is you're supposed to go full.
You broke up. What'd you say?
Supposed to Ice Beam the Mimikyu and Sleep Powder the Incin.
And I mean that's probably what he did.
Yep.
Just like game
There's
one,
no
right?
way there's no way you Water Spout there. Well, in game one he had an Incin.
Right. But like same idea where you just sleep powdering the instant is actually just a lot of value because you never give them the free switch now. They have to like taunt the Venusaur to get a free switch. At that point, they've burned so many Trick Room turns. So this is a max Venusaur, I guess.
Yeah. No, this is the most Chad play of all time. It's like I don't care what you're switching.
And he just, yep, that's fair. Because he had to taunt, right? He didn't have a choice. Otherwise, he never gets his Calyrex in position. And the Mimikyu, it's not like the Mimikyu is doing anything else that turn. And now he just take 2 Ks. Nice, yep. And this game is just over now, right? Like,
Yep.
the Calyrex Ice is still good, but like it never gets Trick Room. It never gets a Weakness Policy proc, and the Instant's still in back, so it kind of just says you're not doing any damage. And the Gaster is presumably in back and like really not doing anything in front of this Venusaur. Oh, okay. I don't know. Is there like a max Reshiram line that gets there?
No, there is a sick line that I saw when I was watching that I thought of when I was watching this game, which is you can max Quake the Kyogre here and side Blue Flare.
Okay. I mean,
'Cause it's
maybe
in
that
rain.
gets there. Yeah.
It's in rain and you get to +1. And like there's a non-zero chance the Venusaur protects, and also like you're not gonna one-shot it. So you should like side and like your Blue Flare is not gonna do any damage.
There's like a 20% chance you burn yourself, but you got to take that chance. Yeah, Hailstorm does not get there. I guess the Blue Flare probably gets there. Ooh, I mean, I think that game was still pretty solidly wrapped up. The residual is
'cause there's
just going to do
full
too
health-
much.
There's just a full health Kyogre.
Yeah.
And the Calyrex was going to be at -1. And so you just go Kyogre, and then you Origin Pulse Parting Shot. And the game should just end, I think.
Yep, this game looks pretty wrapped up, and Victor's going to make it onto the top 4, barring something miraculous. There's still, I mean, there still is Zacian in back too. Like it's, yeah. All right, we're gonna skip ahead because this game is just done. Yep. Still top 8 with Reshiram is very cool and very impressive. That team
It's
was
interesting. Yeah. It's
Just the-
interesting that Reshiram did better than Palkia.
there were 2 Palkia Cali Ice in Top Cut, but or not in Top Cut in day 2. But yeah, I agree. Gilgamesh is known for using Reshiram. I think he's used it a lot, and he played in a like. I think people had game plans for Cali as Palkia that were very reliant on it being a Palkia. Is what it might have been.
That makes sense. I mean, that's what I would have done. Like, you can abuse the fact that it's a Palkia.
Mhm.
And also, it didn't have Mimikyu, right? So this is
Yeah.
the game I haven't seen. I'm actually like kind of hyped for this.
So this is Eric Rios versus Joe. Of course, we know what Eric Rios is on. It's just the standard Rinya Sun. I believe he's Iron Ball Grim instead of a Light Screen Grim, which is what a lot of North
is.
Americans prefer.
Oh wait, so what do you think you mean instead of like clay, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, instead of Light Clay.
Yeah, you said light screen, which I think he has screens.
Yeah, I think the original pace still had Light Screen. I'm not sure if it had Reflect. I feel like it was dropping one of them. Maybe not. I forget. Anyways, Joe, of course, on the more aggressive Evil Dawn team. I did think that, at least in Salt Lake City Top Cut, one of the few teams that had a matchup into Rinya Sun was Z's team that was the Elky, Life Orb, Evil Tall, Landorus team. But I think the Landorus being a Groudon makes a big difference. I think it makes Joe's matchup worse. The other thing is that I think one of the best ways to deal with Rinya Sun is the electric grass pin that you can form on the Charizard slot. But Joe not being Life Orb Elky, like Aaron Trailer was, like Wolf was, like Marcus was, makes it a lot tougher because now you have to max the Elky to take that KO. And also not being Sash means you don't get to take an attack from the Groudon freely when you don't max.
That makes sense. The trick is also kind of cool as well, because it can like help like abate the electric grass pin, because you can trick the Lucky, right?
Yes. Yeah, no, if they lead Grimzard, you probably have to play a little differently. But I don't think you're in a bad spot necessarily. Yeah, actually you might be. If they lead Grimzard into Elky Vinu.
Instant. Let's go.
Yeah, this is something that I feel like Eric does more than most players do. Just like lead very passively. Which is fair. It just like gives you the chance to play the game. and Eric's just trusting his ability to do that. And I don't think Joe's team really gets to like take advantage of passive play very well. It's not like you can sports dance. It's not like you can
That's kind of sick
nasty
from
claw.
Joe. That's so sick.
What he tricked? He got the iron ball and a Groudon instead of
No,
the
he got
Alki.
the assault vest on the Grimmsnarl.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that was clever.
He switched the Groudon into the trick, and so now the Grimmsnarl presumably only has Spirit Break,
Yeah, that's actually it's a really nice play.
and you can just click Precipice Blades for the rest of the game.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, you probably still click Blades.
It's a little awkward because you don't want your Alki to take a Spirit Break. I think he thought the Grimmsnarl would switch out, but Venusaur is still very good. I also think is Eric Lum Lando? He is right.
He has a Lando?
Sorry, Lum. Shoot, Lum Zard is what I meant to say.
I have no idea.
I think he was running something much more similar to the original pace of the team, rather than when we saw like Chungchun and Joe switch it up to Life Orb and Chardy respectively.
He did just miss a Stone Edge, right? Miss a Stone Edge on the Zard.
No, into the Grimmsnarl. He called the switch wrong.
Ah, completely reasonable. Stone Edging there is definitely the better play, of course. This is... Okay, so despite being effectively down a Grimmsnarl, if Eric has Lum, he's in like a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
If he gets this turn correct. Cool.
Oh, okay, so it was not Lum.
So, I think it's Chardy.
That makes sense. I'm not sure if I like that. I guess it like would have let you switch into that Stone Edge and not immediately die, which is something. But if the mirror is not as
Like-
common, then Chardy is a lot worse.
Yeah, I guess the thought was that the mirror would be pretty common.
And I
guess
mean,
the thought is that
if you're gonna beat
you
every
go
other
into this
team,
point-
right? If you're saying you're using the
If you're
best
going-
team, go ahead.
No, you go.
I'm just saying if you're Eric Rios and you said I just want a regional, I'm using the best team in the format. The only thing I can lose to is the mirror.
Yeah.
Then yeah, you run Chardy.
I mean, you can lose to like other things. You can lose to other things, but like you just say, look, Rinya-san has a target on its back, but it's also the team that everyone who doesn't know what to use is going to use.
Mhm.
And so I think it's okay to like say I refuse to lose to the mirror, especially if Chardy makes the mirror, which I don't know.
I think that if you have Chardy, you're in a good spot in the mirror. I think Chardy and Life Orb both make the mirror a lot better versus like, and you can't be Lum. Lum is just awful in the mirror, from what I've heard. I haven't play tested it pretty extensively, so.
Loam sounds like a really good item in an international, but not a good item.
Well, it also is really good into a field of a ton of Venusaur.
Well, yes, it turned out this field had a ton of Venusaur. That was honestly quite surprising to me.
I've been saying that I
Venusaur-
thought Venusaur was going to be overrepresented this tournament.
So there were 3 Venusaur in top 8.
Something like that.
There was, and 2 of them made top 4. All three of the Kanto starters top, which is kind of sick.
That's true. They all got very
There was
powerful
only-
moves.
There was only one Charizard.
I believe it was just Eric.
Is Eric clawing this back? No, there's no way, right?
I don't think so. I think the
No.
yeah.
No, there's no way. No,
I don't
Joe
think
has
Groudon
a
gets there.
whole Groudon. Yeah.
Interesting that he didn't bring Evil Tall.
I think, yeah, if you want the electric grass pin, and like you have to bring instant, right?
Yeah.
Evil Tall, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me that much because it's like not that great into Charizard because
Yeah, and it's awkward into Grimmsnarl because they could Spirit Break you and you don't do very much. And if you want to max the
Yeah.
Eliki, it's not great. But I did like maxing Yveltal into this team because they don't get to click Max Quake into your special attacking Dynamax.
Mm. But Rio Passer does seem to like the Charizard in the matchup.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think you are supposed to probably max Charizard here.
And if you're supposed
So
to max Charizard, then maxing Yveltal seems a little suspect.
does Eric clutch this out? Does he live this? Does Joe's Instant live an attack? Well, sure does what it misses.
I mean, the Groudon took like no damage.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah,
That was a really sick turn one play from Joe.
yeah, no, I like that a lot. I didn't realize how good it was until you talked about it.
Yeah, no, there was so I was playing in SPL a while ago. I forget precisely I think it was this guy Lax who's like just an amazing Pokemon player. And he was using Klutz like CB trick no, it was like Klutz AV trick Golurk.
Okay.
And so your Klutz so they can't like so you can still trick, but your Assault Vest, so you trick that onto like their Toxapex or something, and it's just dead. Like it can click Scald and switch out for the rest of the game. And so I've seen that interaction before. It's like really important.
Huh. Yeah. That is quite funny. Clutch is quite funny.
And one of the things I was thinking about as being good for trick is like, oh, you can Assault Vest. And I just realized, wait, you're taking the Groudon's Assault Vest. It is kind of cool that you could potentially like ground a Pokemon though. Like I
Yeah.
don't know how like useful that is versus like opposing Charizard. Maybe that's like actually really good in the matchup.
It's only okay because it doesn't hit them super effectively still, your ground moves.
Does it not?
Nope.
I'm
yeah.
not sure I understand Pokemon.
Nope, it's just all arbitrary.
Okay, so the thingy. And so this time he goes for Light Screen because he knows he needs this. Because Real Posture could have won that if he like did a bit better on the damage trades.
Yeah.
Like,
the
his
Alki
damage
Max was
trade
really
went
safe.
better.
Also, Joe needed to hit some sleep powders. I think if he missed the sleep powders, he was also Eric also won.
Sure. I'm just saying that like in terms of deciding to screen here, Rio Passer's like, oh, I just need to win some damage trades.
I just think this game goes for longer than 5 turns, and so the screens might not be that consequential. I mean, they're going to be good, but like Joe is capable of stalling them out and winning the game on turn 7.
Protect prevented the parting shot, which was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But it also might have been intending to prevent like a Flare Blitz Spirit Break, which would have been which kind of like pinned the Alecki.
Okay. So yes, turning off the trick is valuable. You really need the Alki. The Alki is the key to this matchup. Deal with the Zard at least. This team does not really deal with Zard without it.
I think you just go Zard now, right?
Mm-hmm. So one thing I will say is that I said this team can't deal with Zard without it, but like it can if you max the Yveltal and you get the speed advantage. And Eric is leading very passively, so he might have had opportunities to do that.
That's fair. But it's still hard to decide that Eric is going to lead passively like every time.
Yeah.
Is this an Airstream angle?
If you are...
It could just be a Wildfire, right?
I think you just get the Wildfire up. Although, maybe you want the KO on... No, because if they get Alki in... Actually, no, they still have the Iron Ball, so they're fine.
True.
So they could Airstream and then Wildfire.
Looking to trade Groudon for Charizard. And then have Venusaur clean up. this I don't know. I'm not sure I actually like this for because Rio Poster's instant kind of. Oh, he went for the instant. Okay,
He knows he's Shardy, right? So
sure. But then Groudon's just taken so much damage.
right, and now this Charizard is not in Thunderbolt range. Might be. I'm not
It's
sure what
behind
the
light.
Magnet calcs look like.
It's behind light screen.
Oh yes, so it's definitely not. So Rockfall, Rockfall would have put it in Thunderbolt range.
Yeah, but I thought that
Although,
like if Joe had traded Groudon for Charizard, that instant was gonna kind of go crazy. But it doesn't because Venusaur has Earth Power.
mhm.
Um, okay,
So
six
protect on
switch
the
from
potential
Eric.
fake out, and then this lives and has to click Rockfall this turn. And so now you're threatening
It did
Thunderbolt,
no
but the
damage, by the way.
Wildfire. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an AV plus one Spadef Groudon that's Dynamaxed, and it's not like a Life Orb Charizard. But yeah, now light screen is gone, right? So now you actually just like reflect goes away next turn, and you are. I guess you could reset screens if you really want to, but I don't think you have the time to do that in this matchup at this
Yeah,
point.
but the screens have been going crazy so far, right?
Have they?
Like the matchup can, yeah. Look at how little Charizard's taken, and like it forced the Regieleki to protect.
The Charizard took one Rockfall with Shardy Berry, and now it's back in a slot where it dies to anything, and it was dying with or without screens.
Does it die to Thunderbolt through screens right now?
Screens are gone. Light screen's gone.
Well, light screen left.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Screens are so much less valuable when you don't have light clay because this team is capable of playing with you for 5, 6, 7 turns.
Yeah. Yeah, so reflect light screen just ended. Groudon's so low though. I think you can just opt to preserve Charizard to help beat Venusaur. Nice.
Yeah. I think you don't have a great way to beat Venusaur without it. I guess you have Zacian, but like the Zacian is being asked to do a lot right now.
He didn't bring Zacian.
Ah, yes, he did not. Is that right? I feel like you're supposed to bring Zacian. I guess if Joe brought Eviltal, at least right. So no, wait, did he? We haven't seen it yet. We know
It's
Alki,
either
Groudon,
Eviltal or
Ensign.
Venusaur.
Yeah,
If it's Eviltal, Joe should win, right?
that's my thought. I still think like Eviltal is very good here. Although obviously it's a lot better when they don't bring Zacian.
Eviltal might be better than Venusaur in the matchup. I don't know. So this is just a bait from Eric, right? He's trying to like bait the Regieleki into attacking.
Well, it's an attack, so
Succeeds.
that's it's a big dodge, I think. Well, I guess
Sandship.
right. Yeah, because all the sun is gone. Sun's not coming back up, which is actually really important.
How minus is this ground? It's like -2.
I don't remember. I think it's -2. Wait, sorry, what just happened? Why is Joe? What did I miss?
He protected the Charizard.
Did he get a double protect? No, he didn't.
No, that was the first protect.
Yeah,
And Joe
and Joe is
Leaf Storm
terrified.
Groudon.
Yeah,
Blades.
he lives, and he's
No, but he dies to recoil and sand. Not sand. Sand's ending. But he dies to recoil, so he loses.
so. Wait, why was he freaking out?
He was probably really sad. He was either happy that he caught the protect or sad that he
Okay, I mean
got
he
hit by
needed a
blade.
miss, right? He needed a P Blades miss or a Blast Bird miss.
Uh did Blastburn miss win? What's the Venusaur set?
A sleep powder, right? And then you maybe get there.
Mm, what's the Venusaur's? Is it Protect Sleep Powder? Like, what's the Venusaur's moveset? Like, full moveset?
I don't know. I have not seen all the
It's not,
moves.
there's no way it's Sludge Bomb, right?
I feel like it has to be Earth Power. I'm not sure if it's Protect. So it could be Sludge Bomb. It doesn't even have to be Earth Power, right? You have a Groudon. But I feel like you want all the help you can get against Zacian, just because it's the best Pokemon in the game.
Maybe it's Weather Ball? No. You don't need
No,
Weather Ball.
if it was Weather Ball, you click Weather Ball. You KO the Charizard.
Well, Charizard protected, of course.
Yes, but I think we would have seen him click it.
Yeah. Um. So same lead from both. And so you really want to make sure you land the trick on the and not the Groudon.
Yes, landing the trick on the Groudon was actually devastating. So, like, as much as I thought screens was not that valuable, having an Elky is still way more valuable than not.
Yeah.
Fake out, light screen, sure. Yeah, just saying I will get trick up later in the game. So this is very similar to how last game started.
Yeah. And then the second turn of last game was protect. No, it was. Was it protect? Yeah, it was protect a Lucky and parting shot. With the Ensign. But this time, he lets the trick go off.
Yeah, that's bad. Unless he has Evil Tall, in which case it's maybe okay.
The throat chop.
Yep, that's really bad.
Prevented the parting shot.
Where like if he got if he got the trick off, but then Joe was like, I'm gonna parting shot off into Evil Tall and click Max Airstream, then he's fine. But now it's just actually so awkward for him.
It's just a hard switch out the Ensign into Groudon.
Okay. Yeah, you can't risk Charizard right now.
I think I'm gonna head out after this game.
Okay, sure.
How many people are in chat, by the way?
We've got so we're streaming on Twitch and YouTube. We've got 9 viewers on Twitch and 16 on YouTube. So 25.
Sick.
Yeah, and I appreciate all of you guys who have stuck around. I'm learning a lot from watching this. Definitely got some ideas going into the May regional season.
Have you considered being the best Pokemon player and playing Rinneso?
You know, like honestly, yes, I have. It's pretty reasonable, especially for like Indy, where I think that there's a lot of like Indy is a wide open regional, and I think I could outplay people, but I don't want to. That's boring. I have my World's Invite. I don't need to like to be miserable playing Pokemon. You know,
Is playing Rinneso miserable?
it's actually not that bad. It's actually quite a fun team to play. But
Yeah. So you could just play the best team and also have it be fun. And also, Joe just maxed the Lucky and got crit and died.
well, he was dying anyways. The crit didn't matter.
Yes, but he did get crit.
Yeah, no, So Joe is a player who
That max was not good.
Joe's a player who makes adjustments for no reason at times, or at least like I disagree with a lot of his adjustments. I know in our set in Salt Lake City, game 2, I won really easily because he just moved away from the game plan that like gave him his 70-30 in the matchup, and I had just
what do you mean the game plan?
like I mean he was running Rinja Sun, and I had very little to do against. I had a very specific line into Charizard Groudon, but could beat any other lead. And he did that game 1, and it was a close game. And then game 2, he just switched off into like Grimmsnarl stuff, and I bodied him. And then game 3, he did the thing he was supposed to do and won. But like, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I like Gastro as like a game 3 mix up," and I was like, "I don't know about that. Like, I think if you just brought it every game, you won 2-0." But yeah, I mean the way he describes matchups often is like he wants to have a mix up that he could throw out there, um, and I've been critical of those in the 2 games that he's played on stream. Actually, the game he played in top 8 was actually really well played. Top 8 or whatever the last game saw him play was, but
Top 8.
yeah, the day one game I just like didn't like his didn't like his leads, and then the day 2 game I forget what I said, but I remember being upset. And then top 8 he played really really well. I thought he played exceptionally well. So I don't know.
All right. I'm gonna peace out. Have fun with your chat.
All right, thanks for stopping by. But yeah, Joe's the type of player who like he wants to mix things up, and I'm surprised that he didn't do it this game because I really think he could have, knowing that Eric was going to lead very passively. That being said, I do think that everyone going into this tournament looked at Rinya's Sun and said, I have a game plan for Rinya's Sun. I have played this matchup a bunch of times, and I know what I'm going to do. And he tried to do the same thing 3 games in a row with like some slight adjustments to the game plan, and it almost worked. It almost worked. He just kind of got caught game 3 making the wrong read on the trick play. So this is the interesting matchup. We got Oe versus Victor, 2 Rain teams that I'm really looking forward to. I think Oe's team is sick. I think that's the 6 Pokemon I would bring if I was bringing Swordfish to a tournament right now. We talked about it in day 1, I believe. Excuse me. I think we talked about that game 1. And Victor's team is just really cool. I like Sunrain. I think it's a very cool team. I'm excited to see that. Hello, thanks for stopping by, Jake. So yeah, it should be an interesting matchup. Sunrain is, I think, positive into Rain. I think it's built in a way where like Venusaur is really good, but you also have weather control when they need weather control. But maxing Kyogre is also quite powerful as well. So I don't know. And we have a new guest. We have Arsel. Let's get him in. Yo, what's good, Arsel?
Hello, Audie. Thought I'd give you some company.
I appreciate it. We are in the last match of the day. We are watching the top 4 match versus Oe versus Victor, and it's about to start.
Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't watch this one, so.
Oh, good. Yeah, perfect. So do you know their teams, right?
I do know the team Swordfish and Swordfish, but kind of different.
Technically, so yeah. I think that Oe's team is. I think that if I were going to EUIC, that's the team that I would have brought. Just like it's the safest Swordfish, and I think Swordfish was the play for this tournament. I think that Landorus gives you better lines into Sun, and that's really valuable. And then the rest of the Pokemon are just good. Victor's team is very spicy. Very glad that Sunrain is back on the menu. I know people have been trying it for a while, and I'm glad that he found a formula that works. So.
Yeah. And Venusaur Kyogre is always good. I feel like it benefits from both Rain and Sun, obviously.
My initial thoughts are that Victor gets weather a little more, which is really valuable, but Rillaboom is just a house too, into the Kyogre, and so then maybe that like just makes it tougher for Victor to position his Kyogre.
Right.
But like Oe's, generally speaking, Oe's matchup involves having a Landorus into Sun, and now that's just not really an option. So that's Victor is going to be able to play a little more straightforward than Oe is. So we do see a Dynamax right away. Who's maxing? Is this Victor? This looks like Oe. So Oliver is going for the Max Ogre, which is fair. I think you are supposed to Max Ogre in this matchup. That's the one way you have of invalidating the weather control that Victor otherwise has. And I think probably just KOs the Zacian here. And did we see Life Orb? Is that right? We see Life Orb Torn?
I believe I was told it was Life Orb Ogre. And I think it was Life Orb Torn, right?
Yeah, I think it was Life Orb Torn.
So it's almost like a basic copy of like Jonathan Evans' team.
Yeah, and I really like Life Orb Torn. I think it gives you the opportunity to max your Tornadus a little more effectively, which is maybe something that people underestimate. I know John was maxing Torn a lot in Players Cup 3, and that was my experience with the team in Series 11 as well. So
I mean, Zapdos and Tornadus have the same special attack, right?
right, and I mean it gives you multiple options. Zapdos is very linear. Torn lets you click Tailwind, Water Spout, or Max Airstream. It gives you a really solid secondary Dynamax when you don't want to max your Venusaur. Although obviously Ogre is also a very reasonable Dynamax as well.
And it nerfs Fake Out even more because usually people like to think they can safely Fake Out into Tornadus if they want to lead and deny Tailwind. But they can just, like you said, just Dynamax it. So
I think Victor's also. I think Victor's running Max Flare as well, so you can set up the Sun for the Venusaur as well if you want to.
Right. Yeah, it's really cool. And I think Zacian fixes a lot of things like having play rough into like things like Palkia or being able to just one-shot Grimmsnarl is a lot better. And obviously being a steel type that can benefit from the rain.
Yep, and so here we see the Venusaur Dynamax just take the KO on the Ogre. The Ogre's done its job at this point. Because I think that Zacian just KOs here in response.
Yeah. And good that he kept his
Sash.
in the back.
So now we have, I think Torn Ogre are the last two.
Right.
But
if it's like Jonathan Evans, it's Cobra Berry Venusaur.
Although that being said, I don't think Victor has a Sash on his team because he's Life Orb Torn, so maybe you just run Sash.
I think I saw an earlier game where he revealed the Cobra actually last night.
Sure.
I believe that.
Torkoal in back makes a lot of sense, but not bringing Ogre is also very interesting. I guess it's pretty reasonable. Ogre doesn't do that much, and you want to set up Sun into the Ogre team, but a little bit of an awkward spot here. We only have two Pokemon. Obviously, Torkoal is very well positioned, but Instant's going to be difficult.
It's interesting who chooses because he's okay with going Ogre too if like he thinks that Oliver's going to bring Landorus for any reason or Incineroar. Like that's two Pokemon that are water weak, but obviously here we see Rillaboom and Zacian, so Torkoal matches a little bit better into those.
He does have to hit this Hurricane in Sun to have any chance of winning. Or Heat Wave. But no, I think he had to hit the Hurricane into the Instant. Unless it's Body Press?
Yeah, if it's the same as Jonathan Evans, then it's going to be Yawn, Heat Wave, Burning Jealousy. We just saw the Burning Jealousy, so... Yeah, but Body Press is also good. Like, another way to hit Incineroars consistently. And I think that's it. Like Torkoal also like matches a little bit better. Like when I was testing dual primal, a lot of the biggest issue was like Calyrex Ice under Trick Room, and Torkoal mitigates that by just underspeeding. I do like both the teams though. I think Swordfish, and I think you've talked about it before in like group chats, but just like look at how many ways people have built Swordfish.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
like we saw Chef do really well with not Swordfish, but like Barraskewda, which was so good for one tournament, and then no one ever decided to bring it again. The Ferrothorn variant that like Paul Ruiz did really well with in the first tournament of the year or second tournament of the year, and then like that's kind of fallen off, but we've seen it pop up here and there. The Shedinja variants are really strong. Like there's so many ways you can. We see dual weather for the first time. So many ways you can run this team.
Some people
you
run
can't beat all of them. Kingdra Seismitoad was really good for a period of time.
Early on, yeah, it was really good.
This is Zapdos Grimmsnarl variants. The Taron has done well with two different variants of it. One with Urshifu, one
Triple
with
Grass.
Whimsicott Kartana, which is like the Aaron Trailer variants of it. So, yeah.
And Trailer had indeed Kyogre, Kartana, yeah.
Yeah, he had a different variant, but I think that the team that Taron brought to this tournament is kind of the same type of team as what Aaron did well with.
Basically, like, consistent game plans, like, with his Swordfish, like, you're locked into certain modes, right? You really don't have, like, a trick, like, any other variant, like, with this. But, like, with his Swordfish, you have multiple max options, I think. Or Kartana, like, the range.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, that was a game where, like, we did very well, positioned himself very well, but also, as dual weather kind of wants 5 Pokemon at all times. And I think Victor kind of got caught where, like, he he just didn't have a second restricted because he wanted to bring Torkoal, and Torkoal was very good. It's just like he also kind of got he wasn't supposed to lose his Asian turn 2 is the other thing, but I don't know if he has a great counterplay to Max Ogre. The Max Ogre just kind of overpowered him and forced him to trade the Venusaur Max for the Ogre. This is a kind of an awkward spot. So, moving on to game 2 real soon, I hope.
Yeah, you would have hoped that the Venusaur, like, if he's not going to bring the Landorus, then maybe he gets to lead Venusaur.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Venusaur is really good into the matchup. And maybe you have to bring Kyogre just because you say it's restricted and hits Zacian really hard, and like Torkoal is just not going to get the like speed or quick enough damage.
Yeah, the alternative is like Victor led or OE led Ogre, right? Or he's hard switch in turn 1. I forget. Like maybe you just say I'm going to max Venusaur turn 1, and I'm going to lead Torkoal. So if you try to Zacian through it, I have Burning Jealousy pressure.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other line that I would consider.
I do like the teams, like in a concept wise, they're simple but they're very effective.
Right.
Like it seems very clean, like nothing like out there gimmicky. Actually, I think all of the top 8 they had like pretty different teams, right? I think everybody in top 8 had like nobody had similar teams.
This was a remarkably diverse top cut.
Yeah, I think there was there only 2 swordfish? These were the only 2 swordfish?
These were the only 2 swordfish.
Yeah.
What's good, Donald?
I'm back. I did my laundry and my dishes.
Nice.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is a good man.
That's being productive. It's better than I can do.
Priority first.
This is I think the last game or the last 2 games of the day. Just Masters top 4. So we're watching OE play Victor. Swordfish versus Swordfish, but one was dual weather, and OE took game 1. Just max the Ogre and kind of power through because Victor did not get his Venusaur in, and he did do what I said. He did the lead Torkoal Venu, get that sun up right away in front of the Ogre, and threaten the Zacian that KO'd the Venusaur game 1. So I like this. I like this lead from Victor. OE can still max the Ogre and take an attack and get rain back up, but it's not nearly as good anymore, right?
Yeah.
Do you think this ogre's max speed?
I don't know.
Oh, was
I think
it
you've got
Scarf?
No,
I was
it wasn't
watching
Scarf.
game 1 a little bit. It looked like it might have been Scarf.
I believe it's Life Orb.
It did not outspeed the Zacian, so I don't think it's Scarf. But yeah, here's the Geyser as you kind of expect, but this seems favored for Victor.
Great.
Maybe the Icy is it an Icy Wind? Did we see we didn't see a Tailwind, right?
We saw Tailwind from.
We did see Tailwind, which means that this Venusaur is faster than the Kyogre.
It's not Life Orb, right?
I don't think we didn't see Life Orb now.
The Kyogre is Life Orb.
Oh, it is.
Did we see recoil? I didn't see recoil. But
Yeah, it's Life
it's hard to catch in this 2x speed.
yeah.
But yeah, there goes the Ogre. So this is obviously very good for Victor. He gets to set up Tailwind if he wants it.
Was that a crit Hurricane? Did we see that?
It was, yeah.
It
It
was.
was the crit hurricane.
He actually doesn't get to set up Tailwind because Fake Out plus Hurricane gets there, I think.
Yeah, I don't even think he needs Tailwind, really. I mean, it would be nice against the other Tornadus, but yeah, he's just going to switch back in Torkoal, I think, yeah.
Well, it depends on what he has in back, but I do think you want to, preserve that as much as possible. And wait, is that outspeeding the Torn? Didn't Torn click Tailwind?
It's Sun and Tailwind, right?
Oh, did
Or
Victor
is
already
that-
get Tailwind up?
Or was it Icy Wind or something? I don't know.
Yeah, we must have missed something then. Yeah, because I feel like he did set up Tailwind, right?
What's up?
Yeah, yo, everyone's joining right as we're about to end stream. We're like in the last set of the day. But what's good, Will?
Wow. What's up? Well,
We are very confused about the Victor versus OE match because we're like half paying attention.
check
But
Torn.
this
I
looks
think
like it's
Protect on Torn's the play, by the way, if you run Torn.
yeah.
His
do we-
his stats, right? Oliver's.
I played like a torn Solgaleo team, and this was KD who I had the team report from this after Salt Lake City in the like quick hitters, and so I knew that his torn didn't have protect, and it was very very exploitable. You do have to like play around it a little bit if you don't know their team, but if you know they don't have protect, it's so much easier to deal with.
Torkoal's so strong.
Torkoal is people did not really like respect Torkoal in this metagame, but I think it's actually quite good, right? Just because it's so good in Tazashin, it has the stats to respond to everything that's not Charizard. And
It's
LP,
just funny
I guess.
how good it is. It is into Ogre too. Like it just trumps Ogre leads. I feel
Right. We
And then
saw
the moment Ogre starts to start pivoting, you could abuse that.
exactly. Yeah, it can max into it, which is a little annoying, and more teams are comfortable maxing their ogre. Like Always team is just kind of built to do that, I think. But
But we saw in this game how Oliver maxed the Ogre, and you could still punish that in a way,
right.
like with the Bino.
Yep. And we saw like Bingji's team, right? That was the Xerneas team that was popular for a while a couple weeks ago. That was running Venu Dawn and saw a lot of success with it, and had the same like kind of response to Ogre teams. Was just gonna abuse the Torkoal and make it do no damage.
So the top cut was diverse, but I mean the finals though it's Renya Sun versus Swordfish. So
It's
is it
the same
that
thing, dude.
diverse?
Every single time, it's always Renya Sun versus Swordfish. We're gonna have 3 straight majors with the same result.
So why wouldn't you play one of those two teams?
Because you are because you're quirky, you know, because you
Okay, it's just a quirky angle, quirky nature. Is that a
yeah
nature?
yeah it's nature.
It's a neutral nature.
I said I think that if I had a tournament tomorrow, and also I had 2 weeks of prep time, I would bring Owi's team. I think that it's
You do have a tournament pretty soon, though, right?
I do have a tournament in 2 weeks, and I might bring his team. We'll see. That's the team that I would
don't
get
like
tomorrow.
that Rillaboom. I mean, that's what I brought to the IC. I really hate the Rillaboom. That's just me. Maybe I don't know how to play Rillaboom, I think is the problem.
But you weren't Life Orb Ogre, right?
No, it's AV.
Yeah. Life Orb Ogre is pretty cool because this team does seem like it wants to Dynamax the Ogre a lot more.
What are the attacks? Is it Water Spout 2 coverage moves or Water Spout Opals and then you pick your 1 coverage move? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head. I feel like we've talked about it in one of our group chat channels, but I'm not sure which one. Or I like skipped. I woke up and skimmed through it.
Yeah, bringing Rillaboom in this matchup is interesting because I feel it's only good against the Ogre.
Yeah, and like you lost to the Torkoal last time, but it does slow the game down a little bit, which is maybe what.
Yeah, I guess if you're just trying to eat some Vine Lash and I mean, it does not take residual, which is actually kind of relevant.
Mm-hmm. It's not.
Yeah, right.
It's not doing much damage, but also, Victor hasn't brought Kyogre, right? So, it's maybe you're calling him out. Maybe you're saying Game 3 mix-up, he's going to bring Kyogre because it's pretty reasonable to bring Kyogre. And also, like I said, you can stall out the game a little better with the Rillaboom, take less residual, heal up a little bit, fake out U-turn.
Let the ball.
Very fun. That's big damage. That's a lot of damage.
That, yeah, well.
So no Torrent is the mod that they dropped.
Yeah, I guess on the other hand, Rillaboom High Horsepower is super effective against 3 of Victor's mons, so it's quite a interesting mindset to be like, oh yeah, maybe I'll just high horsepower into the slot a bunch and not take residual, which like it makes sense. It's just not what you think of Rillaboom as being useful for.
I
Which
also
is maybe
like.
why I'm a bad
I'd consider
Rillaboom player.
Landorus in that case, right? If your game plan is click ground moves, then maybe you bring Landorus instead. But
Yeah,
that just
although
loses to the ogre, and Rillaboom does not.
Lando would have ate though to that Vine Lash because Oliver pivoted Boomer into a Vine Lash. I don't think Lando could take that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it
So
might
now,
not get KO'd, but
well, so Venusaur dies to the Behemoth Blade here. I guess we don't see Ensign, right? Because if you have Ensign, you probably have to bring it in to get the Intimidate off.
mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah. Excuse me. So now, and the ogre is Life Orb, so it's going to Dynamax, of course, and it's not going to die to a grass move. So you do have to Sleep Powder it. And the Torkoal dies, and I guess we'll see what Victor has in back, because he's been bringing Torn, but he might have Ogre.
Is this sleep powdering? This
Yeah,
He has
it's
to.
Ensign in the back. Yeah,
Oh, we saw Ensign. Oh, yeah, we did.
The icons lit up. That's one.
We did see Ensign, yeah. Well, I mean, were you allowed to... I thought you had to Sleep Powder the Zacian. I guess you lose the Torkoal, but, like... We saw that Venusaur was faster than
and the
Ogre,
weather. Yeah,
but we saw that Venusaur was
he
faster.
might have hailstorm. He might have hailstorm Venusaur
I guess.
because like once you hailstorm, then the next guys are just gonna.
So you're
If
saying
this
he would have
guy's-
protected Zacian and Hailstormed?
No, I think he just doubled into Venusaur
I don't know about that. I guess he could
because
have.
like, Ogre's not taking enough damage from Instant Torkoal anyway, so you don't care about it.
yeah. You'd want a hailstorm over like guys.
Yeah, that's fair.
anyway, I think.
And then it'll make the weather just neutral. Yeah, this late game max ogre is like it doesn't even
It's so
matter
good.
if ogre like it doesn't even matter right now if it like doesn't move in Dynamax.
Yeah, I could take a 3-turn sleep. It just has double health.
And I think this is taunt Incineroar on Victor's, so he doesn't even have Darkest Lariat.
Mm.
So
I guess we're talking up Torkoal, but Torkoal does seem kind of weak in these late game scenarios.
Yeah.
So
I read somewhere that
So-
Victor himself said like Torkoal isn't even that great to bring in against Trick Room teams, which he played against Alex in top 8, and he
Mhm.
didn't bring the Torkoal to Cali Ice, which I mean the guy had a Reshiram too, so that makes sense. But
So now, I mean, the Torkoal can still win. It has Body Press. It can yawn, protect, and then start Body Pressing.
Wait. it
Right
showed
in
the
my-
body press.
Yeah, it should Body Press. I think
Oh.
it should Body Press.
that was a 3-turn sleep too, huh?
Yep. They needed the 3-turn sleep. If the rain went up, then the game was like actually over.
Okay, yeah. It is life.
Because we saw BJ yawn. I'm assuming protect and Body Press.
Sunlight ends this turn, so
The Kyogre isn't well. I guess we don't know if it has Origin Pulse. It might not because it's Life Orb, but
I think you still run a second water move though.
Mhm.
Unless you're
I don't
saying Life Orb Scald or something. But
That's why I'm trying to crack the code with Life Orb Ogre, because I really feel Thunder and Ice coverage is pretty important.
oh, okay. I mean that's not a yep. That's gonna do it.
Oh, the pop off like a good. Oh,
That's
hell
fair.
yeah.
I mean, the way he lost was 2 3-turn sleeps in a row, right? Like he would have been very unlucky to lose that, but
Mhm.
can happen.
Let's go Swordfish.
that can be the problem for like if you're using Sun. I was gonna say Groudon, but obviously. In general, when you're using Sun, is like it's just not enough always against Kyogre. That's why you see like Rinius and also have that Gastrodon to stop Ogre Max.
Yep. I mean, that's the big thing, right? Everyone was off Sun for so long because Ogre Max was so powerful into it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have to stop the Ogre Max is more important than just the Ogre itself. So what do you think about the final?
I mean, it's the same as always, right? It's just Sun versus Rain, same old, same old.
Same old after all this.
Right? It's just
yeah.
But
Reshiram, Dialga, two Yveltals, Lunala all in the top 8. Doesn't matter. Finals, Swordfish versus Rinyu Sun.
Yep.
So what do you guys
graphic.
say in your teams?
What was that? The favorite teams.
Yeah.
Javier's team was very cool. I mean, honestly, all the teams from day one, we just kind of saw the same teams over and over again, except for Reshiram. I'm not entirely sold on Reshiram, but it was a very cool idea. I'm just not sure if anyone else can pull it off. Same with Javier's team. Very cool idea, but Eric kind of showed his weaknesses on stream, and I think it's going to be less good because of that.
Yeah, I think also like last night we were trying to test it, and it showed like in different scenarios, like if Blastoise Weezing is supposed to beat Rinya's Sun, but Eric just said, okay, well, I'm not going to bring Charizard in the front. I'm just going to use it as late game option.
Right.
And not even max. And even then, like, I think in the second game, Eric got into a really good position, but then obviously he just made some reads, and Javier made really good reads into him and to make the right predictions. But even then, all it took is like one move crit, and then it was game over anyways. So, yeah, it was interesting teams. I did like the Lunadon team, though, from Casti. There we go.
Casti's team was very cool. I mean, Lunadon definitely like a real team, and I think people have to start respecting it a little more now. But, yeah.
Yeah. I do feel like Lunadon has a more favorable matchup into Rinya's Sun. But this is going to be interesting. I mean, like, what time is it? Usually it's like only one game, right? So it's only finals.
It's only finals, but it's like always the last one.
No, but I'm sorry. Do they do juniors, seniors, and masters?
Yep, and they do TCG first usually.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
it won't be for a while.
Late.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope you guys learned something. And that's all I've got. You know, I'm probably not going to do a recap of finals just because it's one match, and I don't really care about juniors and seniors too much. But
yeah,
very cool tournament. I learned a lot. I am really excited for the May regionals, Indie regionals, in my backyard. So that'll be. And I've got some cool ideas now, and some cool ideas of how to beat Rinya's Sun. Not that any of those actually beat Rinya's Sun at the end of the day. But yeah. Any final thoughts, guys?
No, I just think I don't think it changed anything. Like changed the meta too much. I don't think the meta shifted, obviously, but like yeah, it's like you said, like some ideas got out there. Like maybe we'll see more burning jealousy on Incineroars as one thing. Maybe some item changes, but I don't think anything super major crazy has happened.
Yeah.
Whatever team wins the finals is what I'm bringing to Indy.
All right, bet. All right. Yeah. Well, until next time, I will see you all later.